Hello and welcome back to the Riot Games Arena, where Super Week continues with another elimination best of 5. Up first, FlyQuest are looking fresh with a rebuilt roster, but they'll need to learn from their recent losses to continue their tournament lives. Their opponent, a LYON, yet to find its claws. With pressure mounting, this would-be super team needs to find their footing now. 2 teams enter the elimination series, 1 continues through the bracket. LYON versus FlyQuest starts right now.
And to me, the biggest story is Inspired against his former team. They accomplished so much together on FlyQuest. Now, he's not going up against all 4 of his former teammates, but it's his former org, his former mid laner, and his former AD carry.
I was really hoping that we'd get a little bit more out of the interview, too.
Yeah,
he was just
pretty
like,
tame.
You know, I just want to win versus them, and they're both just good players. They play well. The little tiniest kernel. The tiniest kernel that he gave was that sometimes Masu gets bored and creates action.
Relatable.
And that is not always the best aspect of an AD carry. That's So we'll see. Yeah, Masu, I think, though, as an individual, this split has been performing extremely well. Has really been a big carry force for FlyQuest, and the bottom lane definitely will be a big topic here as we get into the series.
And I think he's been working so well with this rookie support Cryogen coming in. They've been smashing a lot of their lanes, C9 series aside, but even there, they still had a couple of really highlight moments, as Azale was talking about during the pre-show. So I think bot lane for the side of FlyQuest, absolutely. But I also want to talk about LYON, because they're on a different type of pressure. FlyQuest, I think, were on general, like, lower on the power rankings. They had a lot of new players coming in. We weren't sure where to put them. LYON, they spent big. They got a flashy roster. They also find themselves in the lower bracket.
Absolutely. I feel like when you sign Inspired, last year's Player of the Year, and then you also bring Berserker, a former LCS MVP, back to the LCS, your expectations immediately get very high. And I think FlyQuest reset the expectations by going with such a young roster, but then when they did win those first 2 series, put high expectations on themselves kind of right away. So both these teams will have pressure in this elimination best of 5.
And a big topic has been the solo lanes, especially for LYON. So, you know, starting this draft out here with what I foresee to be an Orianna Azir trade. There's always other angles you can go for, of course, like, you know, if you really want to, you know, attack the Orianna in a different way, but that is simply the most common. We'll see if LYON end up taking that for Saint, but, you know, you kind of favor Quad and Gakos, actually, as individual solo laners going into this. Inspired being on Nocturne, though, I always do really like Nocturne compositions with Crazy Engage. Nico and Nocturne already turn out the lights, and Nico guaranteed engages here. So very, very strong way to attack a low mobility carry like Orianna. So clearly LYON expecting this and trying to set up something to attack it with.
Pretty good denial pick, but I'll also say Saint has 0 Azir games in 2026. Even though it was highly played by him last year, he was 1-4 on it. So technically in the last 2 years, he's got 1 Azir win, so I wouldn't mind him playing it if I'm scouting him as the FlyQuest side. Also, the Ashe Seraphine just slammed early by Masu Cryogen. It's been a duo that we've seen increasing priority on throughout the globe. The Azir would make a lot of sense, especially with the Akali ban, kind of pushing him more towards that trade. Standard picks, but just, you know, Saint going for his 2nd Azir win in the last 2 years.
He's tried.
When you put it that way.
I'm less confident suddenly. I'm really liking what FlyQuest have put together with these 3, though. The Nocturne denial for the Orianna, the Knock Wave combo won't be there, but still Nico Nocturne's great. I just don't see exactly what the rest of what LYON is trying to do with this Azir. It's a flexible pick, but like I see clear identity with FlyQuest's side. Great team fight tools and kiteback potential. When does CLG play, Kobe? As that sign was just asking.
Too soon, Kangas.
Too soon?
It's too soon to make those jokes, actually.
Okay. All right.
Give me another 5 years.
Can we get that sign removed?
Give me another 5 years. No, I think I love Ashe Seraphine bottom lane, so getting some very, very strong you know, lane phase out of Masu and Cryogen. Again, this is something that we're all talking about coming into the series, and I like where their heads are at. The other big topic, of course, as we get to a couple more, you know, I consider Mundo a jungle ban at the moment. As we do get some jungle bans here, big topic is Griffin, and people I think are overreacting to FlyQuest and Griffin just getting blasted by Cloud9 at the hands of Blabber.
Okay.
That being said,
Yeah,
now he's going
Inspired's going to
versus
be
Inspired.
easy.
It's not an easier jungle opponent here. You got Inspired, the MVP of the entire league. So we'll see how he holds up. These are clearly 2 targeted Griffin bans here. The Volley Bear still very much viable with the Dusk and Dawn, despite the individual nerfs there to the champion. And it's still, it can be said that it's flexible to top lane.
It could be. I'd say Griffin's had a different champion pool than most. He's definitely played more unique champions than anyone else on his team, so it also makes sense that LYON would be throwing bans at him, because the Ambessa ban even could be a ban directed at Griffin as well. Jhin makes sense into something like Ashe Seraphine. I think it is difficult to pick an actual winning lane against Ashe Seraphine, so if he is able to add a little bit of long-range CC, that can help the Nocturne and Azir swoop in and get some executes on the 2 squishies.
Also saving counter pick here for Dokla, who so far has had a less than stellar performance. When we looked at the kind of would-be super team for LYON, I was definitely expecting more out of a top laner like Dokla. He's going to be playing into a Sion, as that's locked in here for Gakkos.
Very good scaling team fight here for FlyQuest. They've got huge front-to-back set up for themselves. Let's see. Carry jungler kind of expected, but you also need some good ball delivery for the Orianna. Okay, so, technically you can do Sion jungle as well. So these 2 are swappable, both Gwen and Sion.
This is really interesting, actually.
It happens with a lot of tops and jungles now because they keep adding monster modifiers to all these top laners. So either of those could be swapped.
Sion jungle keeps having this really high win rate, but I just feel like it's probably awful.
I have some good lore. Actually, I played Sion jungle versus Inspired in the show match. When we had to be
Mordekaiser.
We had to be Noxus champions.
Yeah.
In the other one.
Okay.
Oh.
Sion jungle's not bad. You can stack up your Soul Furnace really, really quickly off of jungle camps. But since it's a Renekton, just throw the Sion up there.
Yeah. I mean, Jungle Gwen makes the most sense for Griffin. It's something he can farm fast and try and carry with.
Use that Dusk and Dawn power with the champion, even with Gwen getting targeted with some nerfs, of course, afterwards.
So there we go. We still got the Dusk and Dawn champ, even if it's not the Volley Bear. So what do we think then about overall strength of these compositions? I still really like what FlyQuest have put together. I feel like it's going to be really effective front-to-back team fighting. With LYON, I'm seeing more kind of sneaky picks. The Nocturne, the Nico ultimate, flanking Renekton. It's going to be more an execution from my perspective.
I think it hinges on how well some of the early stages of the game go for LYON. If they have enough damage to actually make these quick engages result in kills. If they have enough damage for a Nocturne Nico engage to result in lethal kills, then I think it's fine. But if you get to the point where it's like, wow, there's a beefy Sion standing in front of us, and there's a Seraphine on that team, and they're all 5 together, and you're trying to like crack into this crazy strong like set up front to back 5-on-5, FlyQuest definitely have a pretty good option there. Lots of heals and shields on that team.
Bird of execution for LYON, where FlyQuest drafting a front-to-back team composition. Pressure's on for both of these teams. A loss means elimination from lock-in tournament. A win means you continue through the lower bracket for 2 orgs and 2 teams that have high expectations and high goals for themselves. LYON versus FlyQuest begins right now.
This is fun. We get to see if this FlyQuest like Cinderella story where they had so much success at the beginning of lock-in. Did they actually turn back into a pumpkin, or was it just Cloud9 beating them a bunch?
That's going to be a question.
Oh, so they were the carriage in this.
Cloud9's beat them in half of the games that we've had in this whole lock-in. We've only been playing for 4 weeks. They beat them 4 times. But I think the big story still is Inspired and all the success he had on FlyQuest. And then FlyQuest really breaking apart and just kind of going all over the globe this year. Kind of a where are they now, because we know Inspired here on LYON trying to make this team work, trying to get back to that LCS championship form that FlyQuest had in 2025. Quad and Masu sticking around on FlyQuest. I feel like they were the 2 most lowly rated players on FlyQuest when people were talking about this team preseason. They have a lot to prove as well.
They're also 2 of the most like soft-spoken pro players that we do have. So they didn't really put themselves out there a lot. I think Masu has done a good job recently with doing a lot more interviews and getting his opinions out there. But I honestly feel like his consistent play has really been the highlight. So we'll see if Masu and Quad can show Inspired that it was not the correct choice to leave them.
Yeah. And I'm really curious how much these lanes end up fist fighting early, because the Lounge did a great job talking about how Masu and Cryogen have been playing so aggressive. But Berserker Isles have some of the best laning stats of all the bot lanes that we've seen as well. But then on the other side, Dokla is a player who hasn't necessarily been laning that well, needs to really push the tempo on Gakos. But then we have two full farming junglers, so how much of the lane is really going to be battling?
Well, I would say that if you look at the matchups, Dokla's playing Renekton and a Scion, so should be completely fine early, and he should have an early CS lead.
But how much is he going to be pushing the lead is kind of the question I'm seeing.
I mean, he just went for a heavy trade there. Gakos is in threat of just getting popped right now if he missteps against that Renekton.
So they've got pushing lanes for both sides, which is, you know, this early game that we were going to have a close magnifying glass on for LYON. Bottom lane able to get their push in, able to get their recall off here for the extra Cole for Masu. Or excuse me, Boots picked up for Masu, Cole picked up for Berserker off of their recall and reset here. Meanwhile, Dokla just keeping the pressure up on Gakos on the top side, but should be able to get his recall off with a fairly decent buy and not really be in trouble. Here comes Inspired for his first visit.
Has the Nocturne coming in from the flank. Griffin is nearby too, pops the Ghost, and will push Inspired off of his mid laner. So junglers will just high five in the mid lane. That is a summoner spell advantage technically for Inspired though, because Ghost was popped by Griffin.
It's actually a slight efficiency boost for Inspired as well. He did a Raptor start, whereas Griffin did the traditional buff start into clearing down. So Inspired's actually going to clear a couple more camps and probably end up going with a level 5 recall and have a little bit more gold on his first full clear plus 3 camps.
Yeah, that's why he pulled off the play so quickly. You can see as soon as he sees this Gwen, I'm out of here. Just starts walking away. Doesn't care about it as all. Need to get into the rest of finishing the clear. And Griffin onto the Krugs at the moment. So Inspired does have alone time here versus
Shop though.
His other previous teammates.
He's channeling the back right now, so looks like he's going to complete that as Root lands from Cryogen onto Isles. Some good chunk.
Yeah, Inspired did accomplish so much on this FlyQuest team though. Team accomplishments, but also individual accomplishments. So he spent 2 full years on this FlyQuest org, winning time and time again. I mean, we can look right here. 2nd place in spring, and then pretty much all championships. Split one, rough little best of 3 loss that they had over in Brazil. Other than that, total domination. But individual, 73% win rate, 2 MSIs, 2 Worlds, 2 MVPs, 2 first-team All-Pros, and 4 titles. Just an incredible 2-year run for him.
Yeah, FlyQuest really did dominate, you know, for several years there. So it was a huge blow to the region, honestly, when the team blew up last year and when they were unable to accomplish their goals at Worlds. And, you know, as we saw in the original graphic, them kind of taking their separate paths and going their own ways afterwards. It's always fun to check back in and see who is going to land on their feet.
And it's tough for, you know, Inspired to leave that strong roster of FlyQuest. You see all those accolades he had, and so far has not replicated that on LYON yet. They are in the lower bracket, and we haven't really seen the team come together. Even if individually, I'm still impressed with Inspired's play.
And I do, since it's a pretty slow game, we need to bring this up. Griffin has 8 crab deaths in 2026. Kobe, there's only been 11 games. But it does actually look like he's changing. He's not even contesting the top crab.
Well,
here.
it's because the top crab here is. Wait a second. Are they doing anything besides stealing away raptors? Okay.
Inspired's is level 6 now.
The top crab is less significant because the dragon's on bomb side, but they're camping here to wait for Inspired to come back to.
Oh, but he's actually in some trouble. It was spotted out. Inspired guessed it, and now Griffin. It's not a crab death. But it is still a death around the objective. First blood picked up by LYON.
So it's kind of crab adjacent though, because of the top crab. Inspired got level 6 off of the top crab, and that led to his death because he got ulted on in there.
Do we add?
So is it like a 9 now? Is this like a 0.5?
No, I think it's
that's an arrow.
What is Jack?
Why are you writing this so bad, Kobe? Kobe, learn how to use the telestrator, man.
You know, he blames it on me. Here's what, you know, it's actually a raptor death.
Oh, Saints going in for his own 1v1 right now. Emperor's Divide on the quad, trying to find the 1v1. Shockwave used defensively. Quad's trying to get out of there. Has to flash as well. Bot lane, meanwhile, Masu gets flashed out of Berserker as Cryogen will block the deadly flourish. So action in 2 lanes. as Kobe will learn how to use the prompter soon.
You're turning against me also? You're backing up this propaganda?
Ooh, curtain call now.
How much did you pay him, Jack?
Berserker lands one, lands two, and picks up a second kill for the team.
I mean, this game has turned in Lion's favor based off of Inspired using his level 6 timing, and then also, since they had really pushed Griffin back to base, used his ghost, delayed his farm, then the lanes just kind of went to town. So this is just straight up 2v2 outplay here. Not only did they get the early advantage in this lane by pushing Masu back to base early, it means Berserker can ping level 6 first. As soon as he sits level 6, they just open up. Cryojin would have had to dodge 2 more after that if he'd used his flash, and Berserker does a great job getting that kill.
Nice.
Nice.
That is the experience of the mid laner that wasn't really involved in either of the kills. Sweet. I mean, he got the credit for the kill over the Raptor wall, but the bottom side kill. I mean, this game is basically level 6 timer the difference.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. But it is FlyQuest, regardless of losing those 2 kills, going for the dragon early. Lion do have a couple members nearby, but Inspired has 5 seconds on his ultimate. FlyQuest, Dragon's at 1500. Should be able to smite it and walk away, but Inspired does have the ult now. Do they go for the paranoia play? He goes in, has Saint right behind him. Isles roaming up as well. In comes the Azir. They have the damage for the kill, and it's Griffin that goes down. This time Inspired with the kill credit.
Inspired definitely trying to carry on Blabber's string of punishment on Griffin from the last 2 best of series they played, shutting him down. Interesting with these 2 team compositions, it's very important that FlyQuest gets the Drake, but Lion is doing a really good job playing around Inspired's alt timers. That's 2 for 2 on ults to kills.
As now Dokla goes for a heavy trade onto Gakkos, pops the Dominus, as Gakkos will get back to the safety of his turret, so no kill there from the Renekton.
I feel bad for Griffin, man. I mean, they walked in, they tried to make their play on the respawn on Raptors, but you don't mess with Inspired jungle timers like that. He's not going to let you steal away camp just because the crab was on the top side, and the game has only just begun, and yet I already feel like my conclusion is already like it's going to be the same thing. It's actually the pumpkin of FlyQuest. Over a 2,000 gold lead, only 9 minutes into the game. Yeah. And it happened in a very similar way where it is jungle focused and they're just attacking Griffin over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And he picked, I mean, no one's played Jungle Gwen in the LCS so far. You need Dusk and Dawn before you're really effective.
Yeah, I mean, you're a carry champion. You need farm in general, too.
Yep.
So.
And I also think, like, he was just trying to get his farm. He's saying, okay, he's taking top crab. Let me do something else. But the problem with playing against Inspired is he knows what something else is. If you're not contesting his top crab, where else is he going to be? And they found him perfectly.
And also, it's communication there with their bottom lane. It's like, it's not just them collapsing. Inspired is communicating with his teammates. Yeah. Hey, defend this camp.
Yep.
And they do get it. So, yeah, it makes the game pretty hard for FlyQuest. But I guess you can say they can still try and stick to the game plan of, hey, we are going to look to play off our synergy as a 5-on-5 comp. Mm-hmm. We have Seraphine, we have Orianna shields, we have a really beefy front line. And so we're still going to try and get as much money as we can into the Gwen, Orianna, and Ashe, and we'll still try and group up.
We did see, at least Griffin's getting objectives. He got the dragon, even if he dies. He gets the 3 grubs, so he is still being active on the map, regardless of Inspired kind of shutting him down in the early game.
Yeah, active.
Sure. Active, yeah. We like active junglers right now as Dokla might see some action up top side here. The Sign ult goes in, lands the first knock-up, will follow up with a decimating smash. Griffin is there for the damage. Needlework comes through. Dokla has the Dominus and will pop it. Heals as he rushes away, flash to safety, and Dokla does get out of there.
Inspired thinking about a counterplay here.
Low health bars on 2 members. He just jumps past the Scion, straight on the Griffin. Another kill to Inspired. Flash out from Gakkos. And he gets back to the turret, but Inspired just continually punishing Griffin.
Yeah, the other thing is that Nocturne is one of the best, like responding type junglers. Bottom side, they're gonna make their own play again.
Flash on the both. Root follow up on Amasu. Berserker's trying to get that damage in, and in comes the mid laner. Flash over the arrow from Saint. Shuffle on Amasu, but he's under the turret. Gonna be taking up a lot of damage. Masu sets up quad for the shutdown as Berserker's now gonna look at Cryojin in the alcove. We'll pick that one up. 1-for-1 trade in the bot lane.
Almost a perfect play by Lion and Saint there. Use the flash, think that made all the adrenaline just fire off, and he forgot that the turret did damage. He sits in the turret and dies to Quad's Orianna. But it is really just Inspired dominating Griffin here, and it's a bit of...
There's a little more, too. Bottom lane's kind of dominating.
Yeah, they are. Okay.
They're dominating, too.
So the two former MVPs doing some work.
Okay, there we go.
Making things happen. We're going to watch this play one more time. This is all started by Saint basing, teleporting, knowing that they can make a play off the Nico ultimate. Flashes over it, insane timing, but then goes a little too far back for the swoop. Then Masu flashes back in, Orianna ball arrives from Quad, and it makes it a bit more of an even trade.
Yeah, I mean, Isles, I feel like Isles deserves so much credit here for this Nico ult, getting both of them on the edge and then barely surviving there, kind of kiting away too.
I'm still alive.
Not for long it wasn't. What's the timestamp on that? Yeah, honestly, it looked funny if you looked at Berserker during that, because he clearly like, oh, you know, we got our 2 kills here, like we dominated the bottom lane. But then he sees Saint under tower and he turns around and he's like, well, okay, I can ult, I guess. I'll try and follow up. And so there's a little bit of like comic relief, I think, in this game that was needed because it was so one-sided. I
mean, Griffin might be trying again, but I mean, Inspired is here.
Dude,
again, back-to-back right now. In goes Griffin, pops a needlework. Immediate paranoia response. Inspired is on Griffin like butter on toast. It's going to be 2 kills picked up by LYON.
He's locked in.
Yeah.
Chad, I'm telling you, this
even mid lane struggling, guys. That's another roam. Berserker walking up from bottom lane. Saint with the scoop. Quad goes down 8-1 for LYON.
FlyQuest are the youngest roster in the LCS that we have had in a very, very, very long time. And the kids are just getting beat up on the Rift today, Chad.
So they were actually, by average age, the youngest Tier 1 roster this year at the start of the year. And it's showing up a little bit in this game. I will say a lot of their losses, as ugly as this looks right now, have followed a somewhat similar trajectory. Because if you take this game as an example, after Griffin gives up that first kill, they have the Orianna Scion, Ashe Seraphine, and the Nocturne can counter gank any move Griffin makes.
Yep.
You kind of need to stop making moves. Like, you needed to be patient, but Griffin always seems to want to try and win the game back in the next fight, and it's just sending them further and further behind.
Another thing is that Inspired is a really good Nocturne player because he always remains efficient and he almost never gives away his position. So it makes it hard when you're like, yeah, okay, are we just supposed to never make moves now because we don't know where Inspired is? So you have to...
That is what he'd like you to think.
So you have to assume that he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, well, I don't see Inspired, so he's probably going to ult counter me. Turns out, yes, 2 out of 2 times he was there at the... Actually, 3 out of 3 times.
Yep.
He was exactly there.
They spotted him there. They know that Inspired's topside currently.
Okay, got eyeballs on him.
Yeah. Can we keep that tracking going? I don't think it's likely, unfortunately. Yeah, he's just been a menace so far and is getting a massive lead in the jungle. 1K individual lead for Inspired right now. And yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I was super impressed with Griffin in his debut. He had very aggressive jungle style, but then now last 2 weeks rather, against Blabber, this week against Inspired, has been struggling much more to actually find these windows. We're seeing some of the weaknesses of these young junglers coming in, these young players getting punished by the vets.
Yeah, I mean, Inspired and Blabber didn't get to the top of the jungle food chain by chance, right? Yeah. These guys have been working for a long time and been recognized many, many years as being some of the best junglers. So very, very tough competition for Griffin and for FlyQuest, but it is resulting in a very one-sided match. And that dream of, oh, but look at our comp, you know, like, is getting pretty far out of reach.
It is, but objective bounties can be very swingy. They were on for a second. It looks like they just turned off, but even the individual bounties, Inspired will be worth about 800 gold to whoever kills him if he ends up going too deep and makes a mistake. Dusk and Dawn is completed. It's one of these games where 90% of the time LYON's going to win, but I would say in this season more than other seasons, I've seen more games slingshot backwards. So
yeah, I mean, even just yesterday, we almost saw DSG kind of slingshot Team Liquid. But it's still going to be difficult. I don't want to say like, oh yeah, like there's a great chance for FlyQuest to bounce back here. They got to find that avenue or find a way to slow the game down. Either way could work. Getting that first dragon will naturally slow down the dragon soul timer for LYON, but it could be a while until they're really comfortable to contest at these other objectives. But we got 2.5 minutes until that one. Right now, game could slow down a little bit more unless LYON want to be the one to make action happen right now.
Kobe, do you think Saint's going to build Proto Belt second on Azir?
No. Why did you ask that?
Because Chovy started building Proto Belt on everything, including Azir.
Okay.
And then last night, his opponent built it second on Azir.
Okay.
So it's just like, if Chovy does it, and you're especially someone who comes from LCKCL, why not do what Chovy does?
That's a good point, actually.
That's a good argument, sure. And also, you could do it in a game where your team is already 5.5K gold ahead.
It gives you a little bit extra range. It's AP, health, haste item, not that bad. It's cheap, 2650.
Okay, down.
Yeah. I'm just
And then
wondering.
you can go further under the turret next time, too.
Yeah.
No, then you can Proto out from the turret.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Let's ask the audience. Audience, do we think Saint's going to build Rocket Belt this game? Is it happening?
You can answer chat
Rocket
as well.
Belt is
I don't
here?
think so. No,
I
they're
don't think
not.
they're not. Okay.
They're not Chovy
nods.
stands.
Okay.
They're not Chovy stands.
Yeah, I wonder what chat's saying. Maybe we can get a poll up of will he build that or not. Right now, Dokla is the target here for FlyQuest, though. They have multiple members nearby. Inspired is still hovering. It would be a 3v2, as Dokla will just pop the Dominus right away to clear out the wave.
Yeah, also prevents a possible dive. Inspired would have been there on Nocturne as well. Definitely LYON trying to play the control game. This is the type of game that Inspired would like to play. Only take the winning fights, farm as many minions as you can between those winning fights, and then kill the Nexus.
I think that is the type of game that most people would like to play. I would like to play that type of game where I'm just winning.
Yeah?
Seems ideal.
How do most of your games go, though?
It's very calm now from the side of LYON, since they have such a large lead to leverage. All you have to do is work off objective timers. 40 seconds on the next dragon. They go over to that. FlyQuest have a very difficult time stepping up to it. Then you can move right on over to the other side of the map, take down these side lane towers.
Jet, I see you're pointing out the Rocket Belt on Isles does not count. That is not on Azir.
Nico
this is a normal
I was
one to
actually
buy.
wanting to point out
that's what
the
you're
items
pointing
from
at.
Berserker to cut through the shields.
Well,
I
I'm
think
pointing
that's
at
really
Dokla
smart.
right now. The arrow goes wide. He's able to dodge that one, flashes the wall, and gets away from the attempted gank. That is not going to work out for Griffin right there. Yeah.
Left either.
And again, Dragon's coming up in 5 seconds, so this feels like a play that FlyQuest was trying to send it on the top side while they expected LYON to be setting up for this Dragon.
Yeah, which I think is correct. Try and play a cross-map play while the enemy takes a Dragon that you know you can't fight. So don't blame FlyQuest for going for that play. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't result in anything, but you can't really fight this Dragon anyway because of the large gold lead here.
Saint is sitting on 3,200 gold, so he has enough to buy any item he wants.
He can one
Shadow Flame.
Bad news for you, Jet.
Well, he had enough money for it, so maybe he just, you're at the store, you see something for 3,200 and something for, when you have all the money in your
Why
pocket.
get the budget option, you know?
Get the big one.
It's like you can add something that costs 5% more on your total order once you're spending enough. It's like that's a typical sales trick, you know? Yeah. All right, well, that is a second Dragon now picked up here eventually for LYON. As actually, no, it's going to be Paranoia popped to bot side instead. Inspired in a 1v1 right now, and he likes those odds. He will just slaughter Quad all on his own on a rampage.
See, I bet you that felt good. He said he wouldn't care about killing Quad, but if he's able to solo kill Quad in the side lane, it's got to feel nice.
I like that. I like that assessment right there. I expected them to just go straight to the Dragon, but no, instead they go for the play. Now they'll get the Dragon as Dokla finds Gakkos under turret right now. Just trying to get the damage on him instead of going for the wave. Gakkos has flash available and also has Griffin in his back pocket. Now they just turn back on a Dokla, slices away, dices back in. He still fancies the solo kill, won't find it. Gakkos is out of there, but maybe they get Griffin. Isles roams all the way up. Pop Blossom stunned onto Griffin, and it's Saint with the kill credit. 0-5 for Griffin. LYON with their 10th kill as a team.
Yeah, Big Dokes had a Spear of Sojin completed there and had the early Black Cleaver as well, so she's shred that Scion no problem.
Yeah. Say something nice, Kobe.
LYON are looking really good today.
I agree. For what it's worth, both Team Liquid and LYON had very high preseason hype.
Yeah.
Didn't deliver in the first 3 weeks of Swiss, but it's hard to make a full judgment on a team based off of 3 early weeks when everyone's coming in with visa delays, not having that much time practicing together. Now, this 2 weeks that both of these teams have had to kind of train in their time chamber, this is more the LYON that people would expect to see.
So, question for you and chat, is that the earliest Baron that we've had in the LCS? I'm gonna check with stats.
No way.
And we'll find it. Pretty early, but
I'm gonna say no.
We have had a decent amount of one-sided games, so.
I bet you TL versus Shopify had an earlier Baron. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, that is a very fast Baron.
What is the highest gold at 20 though?
Ooh,
7.4 thousand. It feels like the highest gold at 20.
It does.
Yeah, so this is matching the eye test.
I'm going through. It feels kind of like deja vu of like the games where Cloud9 were stomping FlyQuest. Because I felt bad during those ones also.
True.
And it was very similar, you know, it's like, oh, you know, Blabber invades Griffin. This time it was, you know, Griffin actually trying to go invade Inspired and steal, and mess with his camps. But it was kind of similar, you know, and then they continue to attack the jungle, and then there's no leverage there for FlyQuest. So I don't know, it's
And the biggest weakness of this FlyQuest team is playing with the deficit, right? Even the games that they won early on in the season against Shopify when they had the early deficit, the types of plays they go for are very similar. They're always trying to win back the deficit in a big way.
Yeah.
But in this game and in some of the C9 games, those big swings have missed and exposes them to get counterpunched in a heavy way.
And back to Kobe's earlier point, this is now back-to-back series here. I mean, this is only game one. We still have many more to play here.
Yeah,
but back-to-back,
calm down, buddy.
Yeah.
Just because it's happening one game doesn't mean this is going to happen all day.
But it is Griffin, a rookie. I still call him a rookie. I know he played one split down in LTA South last year. But still, very new jungler coming into the league. Playing against two of the GOATs. You know, it's Blabber, it's Inspired. So I think we're starting to see why these two junglers are held to such high esteem when they're able to make again, I'm going to call him a rookie, look like this. Despite Griffin having a fantastic debut, has now been kind of shut down the last couple of games here, as Inspired will continue to shut him down. I mean, at this point, there's really nothing for FlyQuest to farm. Like, they're getting every wave pushed in with the Baron buff. They're losing their jungle camps. It's getting so difficult as Gakkos looks for the unstoppable onslaught and will not land it onto Dokla.
And LYON is also playing really well. They are pushing waves in a safe way. Inspired has been hiding his position really smartly. I think the fact that he successfully countered Griffin on his first 4 moves has then also dissuaded you from even going for more moves. So FlyQuest is giving up most of their waves. They have to give up most of their camps, and it's a big snowball.
Yeah, and because the jungle story is so interesting and big with Inspired playing against his former teammates and his former organization, you know, it might take some of the camera time away from the bottom lane, but Berserker and Isles were really smurfing this game too. Isles had some really good engages. Berserker was absolutely destroying them down there, and there's another one.
Paranoia underneath the turret, onto Quad, trying to all in with the help of Saint. Quad has the stasis. Zonia's popped, and the turret falls, and LYON still get the kill. Turret and kill, credit to LYON.
It's just such a value, you know, pick to steal away Nocturne from an Orianna, because not only do you deny the Nocturne and Orianna on the same team, the synergy for the ball delivery, but it's also one of the best champs at attacking Orianna in the side lane.
Okay, but now Griffin has a window. We just saw Inspired bot side. Does he want to loop around?
How many
it's
times
scary.
have they
Teleport
tried?
coming in. Yeah, this is a lot of effort into this top half, and now Dokla is just finding himself in a 1v1 with Isles behind. Flash out of Gakkos. Pop Blossom should knock him up. Cryogen trying to keep his top laner alive. Not long enough. Griffin jumps in. So does Masu. Flash away. Dokla's on top of him. Double kill to Saint as he'll shovel away. Quadra kill to Saint. A penta? No, just the quadra kill to the mid laner, but LYON showing up huge in the top lane again.
Quad was already dead, so it couldn't have been a penta. But he killed all 5 of them.
You know, delayed.
Yeah.
Delayed.
God, man, 15-1, Kobe?
This is not what we expect. Oh, we're just doing it again? We're just doing it on repeat. Shane Paranoia, bot side, welcome back to the Rip Quad. We took that one personally. Ace for Dokla.
And they've got the preset white flags to go up when all opponents are dead.
Oh my God.
Like that, usually those are kind of like funny, but when it's actually a beatdown like this, it just feels mean.
One of you said earlier, it's like, you know, the veterans beating up the kids. It's feeling like an episode of Always Sunny right now. Like, this is getting a little ridiculous. 16-1. Okay, so this is the top lane play. I didn't know which one we were coming back to. This is a teleport from LYON to help defend Dokla.
Yeah, and just watch the Azir Saint approach this play. He gets the first one. He's going to be able to get all 4. Very fed at the moment. Death Cap, Soul Stealer completed after this fight. Literally feels like he 2 hits Griffin. 1 ult and then an auto attack. My reaction too. I thought it was a penta because the quadra kill happened so fast.
And also, there's still the Scion. We see the Scion die, but then there's the zombie. Yeah.
Actually, my favorite part of that fan replay is nobody else is reacting, and he's looking around like, yo,
Yeah.
anyone? That was crazy, right? And everyone's like, well, this game is just over. Sorry, I'm kind of checked out.
But I think part of the reaction...
Check back in!
Check back in, guys! Saint just got a quadra kill after having a really tough performance so far this split. I think this is a resurgence for all members of LYON. Like, Inspired was the one that I really was focused on. Like, yeah, he still looks good. Berserker as well had a couple of really good plays, but the team was struggling as a whole. This does not feel like a team that's struggling. They feel like they're on the same page here.
No, it doesn't. And this is only brought up because it's so opposite to what we had prepared. Saint had actually been struggling so far this year. His damage was down. His gold difference of 14 was down. This game is way up. I think part of it is that the other jungler was completely removed from the game, and so much of it has been set up by Nocturne.
We got one final Baron set up right now. We're going in for the play. It's Gakos on the front line. Dokless buying space for the rest of the team. LYON have taken down the enemy top laner first. Curtain call. Dokless going to help chase down on the quad. Lots of slows landing. Cryogen will tank up the last one and flash to safety as LYON, the Baron is delayed, but they still did kill Gakos.
So, if you're the coach for FlyQuest,
Think card.
yes, or Apollo, how do we, well, let's take a look at the Baron fight first.
Yeah, it seems like FlyQuest still have more fight left in them. They have ultimates available from support to mid to bot, and now over the wall. Isles looks for the pop blossom, will land it onto one. Cryogen falls, quad goes into stasis. Masu trying his best to get damage down, but Doko's on top of him. In comes Saint with another shuffle and another multi-kill. That one's a triple. LYON win another team fight.
So I was gonna say, how do we protect the mental for next game? Not just considering this single game, because you know people ask that a lot for best of fives. Okay, just look at the next game. It's fine. It's a long series, but it is not just this series. It's also the last two series that they played versus Cloud9. Also, it has been like very abusive.
Yeah, it has felt that way. It's interesting because if we look at what the last series did, is they're ending the game right now, but it's a 20,000 gold lead. They drafted themselves more early game agency as the series progressed. And here they picked a lot of scaling. They didn't have much of a fallback pattern once they fell behind other than playing very cautiously, which they couldn't do. So I would imagine the plan would be, okay, we need to really prioritize picking lanes since when we go for fights, we can't be at a deficit.
And at least to FlyQuest's credit, Gakos gives his life to try and clear the wave. Cryogen's there to help, so LYON can't end on that push, but this game all feels... Oh my goodness! That was a Q and an auto from Saint onto Griffin, and he almost just dies. Now Inspired goes in. He was at that help when that started. Flies over the wall from Isles. Lands on a 3 with the curtain call on top of it. Double kill to Berserker. LYON don't need a reset. They just needed to refresh their cooldowns. Quad will be aced. LYON will win another fight. It's a slaughter of a game one with a 21,000 gold lead. Game one to LYON.
A gold lead that is more thousands of gold than the average age of the team. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of League of Legends. What a start.
Wow.
Can you win a whole series in one game, Lounge? You gotta let us know because that was wild.
Awesome insight in there. I love those little videos where we get the pros showing us little
really
tips.
Good.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
I want a compilation of all of them together.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
In case you missed any.
I mean, if you go to any of the LCS social media accounts, you can scroll.
There we go.
You scroll all the way down. You need a compilation, chat. Can't be scrolling all these different ones. There's like 50.
You know what? I'll take what I can get. Our socials have been fantastic with the content they've been putting out. That's another example of that. And also, Saint had a fantastic game number one right there on the Azir of all things, which is, Jet, what's the win right now? It was, what, 1-4 before?
That's his second Azir win in the last 2 years.
Second Azir win?
First of the year.
Let's go. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Every part of LYON won in that in that previous game.
The fact
Every
that their
part.
only death the whole game was Saint going too deep under the turret on his first swoop.
Was the only death.
Otherwise, it would have been 26-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, focus back up, FlyQuest. Let's go, FlyQuest. Come on.
They need to pull themselves out of this tailspin because it definitely feels like the 2 consecutive series against C9 were rough, and we were hoping that they'd be able to bounce back, but it definitely looks like this is a completely different LYON team than what we saw in the first 3 weeks of the split. And Kobe and I were talking, even though the gold lead got really extraordinary by the end of the game, there were good mechanical fights by LYON. They were making a lot of really slick moves in those fights. We were just distracted by the gargantuan gold lead.
And I mean, it was also inspired just completely reading everywhere Griffin went. We talked about the invade early on and really highlighted that. That got the snowball rolling for LYON. But then he had, like, what, 3 times top lane where they were trying to look at Dokla from FlyQuest side, and Inspired was always there. They had multiple people going up. So it feels like LYON just have a solid read on what FlyQuest would do at any given moment in that game. And FlyQuest maybe need to get out of their own heads about that as well. Not only just bounce back from a tough loss, but also figure out how they're getting read so easily here from LYON.
Especially for junglers, because jungle is such a unique position where there's a lot more mind games a lot earlier in the game. You know, laners, you go to lane, you can play your lane several different ways, but it's nothing compared to how many different decisions you have to make in jungle. And it really does seem like Griffin is kind of, you know, in his own head at this point with so many early jungle fiascos happening to FlyQuest. It makes it very difficult then to play out a normal game plan after one of these really early fiascos happens, and you're playing then into one of these legendary junglers of you know, of the LCS at a deficit, and it becomes really hard for them to get back on track. So we'll see if they can. Honestly, I almost never say this, but can we just, like, calmly farm in the early game? You know,
that
like,
is,
let's just relax. Maybe we don't go for any early invades type thing, and maybe we just do like a full clear a couple times and relax. Maybe let Masu get the work.
Try it a little bit.
I don't know. So,
you don't want to get rid of the aggression. This is always the problem, right? Whenever you lose
I mean,
in spectacular fashion.
It also depends very heavily on the team comp, of course, but you also don't want to give too much ground to Inspired, because then, you know, Inspired's going to take one of your camps here, and then on repeat, then he's going to have the time for the next one, and then it kind of will snowball away from you. So
the most efficient jungler that I think we have in the West right now. So yeah, I agree that it's just going to be a tough position for FlyQuest regardless. I put a lot of stock into vibes, and I'm seeing LYON's players smirking, laughing, chuckling with each other, and I see FlyQuest players locking in, taking it much more seriously. So we'll see if maybe a different mental approach can also help them out here, as pressure is mounting in this best-of-5 series. But we're in pick and ban. A couple of bans already here, as Karma and Cassiopeia on LYON side, with Ambessa as that final ban, still not giving that flex pick. Primarily jungle these days, but still technically flex pick for Gatkos and Griffin. Whereas Pantheon and Rise on the side of FlyQuest so far.
So Rumble's still up, Taliyah's still up, like a Taliyah Vi sort of action there. You could do like some Rumble with like a Yone or something type of composition. So there's a couple different angles. Interesting Sylas ban here. Maybe they just want you know, to open up an Alistar for later or something for their bottom lane. We'll see about that, but definitely a lot of power picks still available as far as the solo lanes go. Varus on the bottom, still quite good.
I gotta ask Dokla what's going on with those Akshan hovers. Usually the hovers are
I mean,
for
Dokla's always hovered.
It has been? That's just his go-to? Okay, I haven't noticed that one then. Well, it is a Varus locked in either way for LYON, so they're going for their bot side first off, and it's going to be very quick Vi-Ahri combo. Chain CC, easy lockdown between these two.
That was the Sylas ban. That was the Sylas ban. They wanted to do the Ahri instead of the Taliyah. Even though I really like the Taliyah, we have seen some pretty rough Ahri games so far, so maybe this one will change the story. There's also been some very good ones though, so especially when you pair it with Vi, the point and click combination.
Yeah, if they end up locking in this Aurora, I believe it will go mid lane, even though it's technically a flex.
We always bring up...
Dokla says it's fake.
We always bring up this story. That was a while ago, you know, opinions can change. Dokla has since actually had his ass beat by an Aurora in the top lane.
Did that really happen, though?
So...
You know, growth mindset here, Kobe. You know, you need to learn.
He might be like, you know what? I changed my mind. Aurora top is good. So, you know... It's probably going to Saint, since Saint had, you know, one of the biggest damage Aurora games in the entire LCS with it. But it could swap always.
We got a Rock locked in. That's a Malphite. Also technically flex pick, although expecting that jungle has been mostly in the jungle lately. Yeah. But I inspired on another kind of like ultimate centric champion between the Nocturne now the Malphite. As soon as that ults up, like, he can be looking at these lanes.
Yeah, I mean, Malphite is so much more boring to me, though.
Oh, yeah?
Then Nocturne.
After the nerfs, yeah. After the nerfs here. Because before it was still pretty exciting just because of the power of the champ. But
I think it's pretty early to pick Malphite, right? They immediately take Ezreal.
I don't know what some of those are. I don't know what one of those is. But you know what? I'm gonna try that recipe later. I'm gonna go back.
If this turns into another big stomp, we'll come back to that.
Okay, yeah.
As a talking point.
That's a talking point
when we
for
have
later.
the time.
Yeah. What exactly are we making there? But it's gonna be Ezreal for Masu, so more defensive AD carry.
Yeah, a good pick into Malphite. That's why the early Malphite priority, even though it was really overpowered when before the nerfs.
At least one game for the birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one not looking so good. I like where your head's at, though, Jat. You know, you're picking Malphite into 2 carries that have the most mobility.
Yeah, it's not a good slot. It's good into Vi, maybe. And maybe if Gakkos picks an AD champion, and they could potentially flex it, but I think it's a little early. Inspire just did so well at hitting 6 and playing on alt-timers, though. He's just going to try and play, I think, a similar game.
And I think part of what worked out well for them in that last game was the fact that they had, the Renekton top lane to push in the wave and then cover for that top Skettlecraft if a fight even happened up there. So I think that for LYON, drafting, winning lanes might be part of their recipe here for success. As, man, the Dokal fans really have shown up today. Shout out the Dokal fans. Big Dokes. Love it.
All right, Renata off the table as well here because they're showing Vi Ahri, so they're going to go for the engage pretty heavily. Don't want to have to work around Renata ultimate, and giving that respect over. Meanwhile, in addition to taking off the Rumble to open up her blind pick that we're assuming is coming for Dokal on this side. Okay, so they want a protection with both the Rumble and the Gnar, make it a little bit easier for Big Dokes. Even though, technically you could stick him on Malphite if you really wanted to, but.
And I want to go all the way back. This was something we talked about last year when Gakkos got a couple of stage games for FlyQuest. What they wanted to set him up for was counter picks with a unique champ pool and playing some of the carry champs. So I want to see Gakkos pull out something that the team can play around. They already have a bot laner that can play safe. They did go for the Alistar as well with that Silas ban, so kind of double hit there with the Silas ban. But I want them to enable Gakkos a little bit more here with his unique champ pool.
Yeah, and I think not going for support counter pick, but instead going for top lane counter pick is a good stride towards that. But the overall team composition, if we go back to game 1, FlyQuest picked this very slow scaling 5v5 team composition, and we were asking what are they going to do to try and correct the tilt. More individual agency across the board. Ezreal and Alistar can both play their own games. Vi and Ahri can both play their own games, and whatever Gakkos picks should be able to have an advantage in lane.
It's into Poppy, so he knows what he's playing against, but Poppy is a very solid defensive pick.
I think it's a double flex.
Oh,
Poppy
I guess.
can both go top jungle, so he's got to have something that works into both.
I mean, Poppy is so good into Alistar, Ahri, and Vi here. Good value.
Could be Poppy support also, yeah. And now with the Cassante hover here, they have a lot of flexes, but I mean, they're going to have to log in something here to kind of show us more. And it is Cassante, so expecting Poppy support then.
That explains it, for the most part. Cassante top, Malphite jungle, Poppy support.
Still love Poppy into the Alistar. Very hard for you to make any action happen out there. And also it's just great into things like the Ahri as well.
Let's do it!
Oh, there we go!
Let's do it! Some real dive. All right. Into all of these tanks here. Okay, we expect you to have some focus up towards the top side of the map. Last game, you saw Griffin go up there like 4 times, right?
Yep.
Every single time he went up there, they died though. So this time around, they're not going to die. How about that?
Well, this time they're not going to try and play around a Scion, right? Because that's the opposite of what you want to do when you're playing around a Scion. It just felt like everything else in the map was lost here. At least by the champions, they can win this 2v2. They would hope. Although that's a big armor stack.
I was going to say.
Going up against Vi Olaf. Olaf can do a lot of true damage and can also do well against a lot of melee champions. So if he gets a lead, he can shred.
Denting Blows can't help you out in that. But it's notoriously difficult to actually kill a Cassante. Like, he's a tough champion to lock down and take down, especially if he's under his own turret. So let's see if Dokal is able to play weak side top lane as expected. Gakkos, though, this time, this is what I wanted. The Olaf top lane, a unique champ pool for a young top laner.
Walk back in, Kobe.
If you've been getting beat up a bunch on stage, then you at least need to try something else. You know, you have to increase your tolerance for risk. And index very heavily into counter picks. Olaf thrown down. Can the Olaf run through these tanks and take over the game to keep FlyQuest hopes alive?
After a crushing Game 1 loss, it's agency, the name of the game for FlyQuest. LYON looking to run through this series expeditiously as they got a 21K gold lead in that first one. Higher than the average age of FlyQuest members, as Jat likes to remind us. Game 2, taken to the Rift.
Already some ward sweeping happening in that bottom lane. In terms of going against the grain as well, Kobe, I'd say even the Game 1 draft for FlyQuest was doing that. So many people are drafting support in 4th or 5th pick, whereas in Game 1, FlyQuest locked in the Ashe Seraphine in the first rotation. Here, the Olaf is something we don't see other people play. Game 1, additionally, trying to play the Jungle Gwen. So they're definitely trying a lot of things, and they seem to have changed their strategy overall for Game 2 with more power around the top side. But that killer instinct in draft and trying to be a little bit different, I think, is staying the same.
As we see, I always like to keep in mind whenever we see a Varus coming into game, it is the Comet, so more lethality Varus. Expectation here, as Cryojin's actually playing very aggressively as a level 1 Alistar. It's rare that I see level 1 Alistar actually find this type of early lead, but that's it from us for the early game right now. Let's toss to Emily, who's there with ThinkCard for an interview.
Hello. First thing, how do you regroup from such a crushing loss?
Yeah, so obviously not the best performance, but in a loss like that, we kind of forgot most of our fundamentals in the first 6 minutes of the game. Like, we're calling out their Jhin can move. It could be 4v3 on Raptors. Nocturne's level 6, and then right after that, we fight Dragon. So it just comes down to taking a step back, taking a deep breath, zooming out, and just playing the game accordingly, because in a game like that, as long as we do play slower and play on our timers, we kind of see it like a free win with our comp. So it is about kind of chalking it up, because as soon as you fall behind, the game's kind of a disaster. So it is easy to write it off, but we do need to have good fundamentals in order to beat teams in any pro league.
I fully agree. I actually really liked your comp in Game 1. Game 2, taking a completely different strategy here, right? With the Vi Ahri, like a lot of really early to mid-game playmaking. So is that like a conscious choice just based on how the way your team has performed?
It is kind of just like baiting them to pick Varus, and then we have a very good dive comp with the Vi Ahri Olaf. Overall, it still kind of follows a similar thing where they do have like a Malphite, which is going to have pretty strong like mid-game fights, but as long as you have Flash and we have Ezreal Ahri, which are pretty good against the Malphite, then it should be easy for us to kind of find a good fight. And what the key for team fights in this game is, as long as Olaf can connect with the Vi Ahri, it's going to be winning. But if Olaf is too far away or can't connect, then that's how you know a fight's probably not going to go our way.
Well, we'll see what happens. All the best to you and your team. Thank you for taking the time. We'll let you go. Back to the cast.
Love hearing Coach's thoughts, and I gotta ask, is it just like a FlyQuest thing where they take the mic from the interviewer? Griffin does it, now ThinkCard does it. Is that just like their thing?
Maybe he's learned from the coach and not the other way around. Because
I don't know why you guys let him have it.
Yeah, you can hold on to that thing.
as long as they give it back. First infraction, never again. But it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I know. It just keeps happening. Gakko is actually in a very low health situation here as the Olaf, though.
And I'd also say exactly the same jungle pathing that we saw early on in Game 1. So Inspired doing the Raptor start, not recalling until after his Krugs are done, whereas Griffin doing the more standard full clear, basing, and then going back for Krugs. It did allow him to kind of cover for Gakko a little bit there, but he's going to have to start clearing his camps because he wants to hit level 6 at the same time as Inspired.
And it's another instance where already in the early game, Inspired is getting a more efficient clear over Griffin. This time because he's hovering on the top half and will now go towards these other camps. But yeah, Inspired is able to get that top Scuttle Crab and is right back towards his bottom camps.
Well, I mean, it's same efficiency, it's just different timers in. You're desyncing your Raptor spawns from your opponent's Raptor spawns with this.
Sure.
Last time, turned out pretty poorly.
It did, yeah.
A little bit dangerous, but we'll see how it happens this time. Generally, when you are playing level 6 junglers like Malphite or Nocturne, or a lot of people really like Raptor starts now, so you can get back for the second clear on your red quadrant of the jungle. But you know, it is going to be the clear top down to bottom every time for Griffin. So Griffin is once again going to end up down here after finishes clearing his Gromp. Looks like Isles just went and popped the Scryer's Bloom over him, though, and so they have clear vision of the Vi, and Inspired takes that time.
Level 5 Malphite gank. I mean, there's a ward in that Pixel Brush, so they see it coming, but it might not be enough. Ultimate is popped, Ragnarok used, but he sees C immune. Is it enough to get the solo kill? No, it's first blood, the Dokla.
Big Dokes. Honestly, he had a really good first game as well. We were talking mostly about Inspired and about Berserker as far as the bottom lane, you know, the individually winning places. But Dokla made a lot of good 2v1 plays for himself on the Renekton up by the top side. Yeah, it was a nice, easy winning matchup with Renekton into Sion, but this time around he had to blind pick the Cassante, and Inspired says, you know what? I'm going to come on up here. You only need a little bit of extra damage.
Yeah.
When your Cassante gets to level 6, nice all in there from Dokla with the all out, and Inspired just add a tiny little bit of extra damage to make the difference here. Griffin, this time around, does again not get that Raptor spawn.
But he is level 6 because he sold the Drake. That's like the biggest crab of all in the early game.
Yeah, true.
Is it?
I mean, Olaf might be a bigger crab. I'd take the Drake over it as long as the Olaf
is a bigger crab than a dragon.
I mean,
we'll see. First blood.
I need one of those like picture books that's the animal size chart from Jat, and it's like, these are all variations of crabs.
And the larger crab. But I'd also say, like, it is another example of Inspired having a really good read on the game where all the information was actually available to the two top laners if they're looking for it, of which way the junglers started their clears, when the camps are going to be respawning, and where they're likely to be. Because Griffin clearing top down, if he's trying to go for another full clear, he's always going to be bot side. So that's why Inspired feels so confident to walk like through the enemy jungler as level 5 Malphite to arrive for that little bit of extra help.
Also, I just want to say, this is disastrous for the Olaf. I mean, we're talking about the fact that this is a Cassante that can stack armor. He now has the boots. He has the Bramble Vest. Like, this is not how the Olaf wants the lane to start off, already giving a kill over to your top lane opponent. So, again, pressure on for FlyQuest. Like, can Griffin get up there and help out his top laner, who's now going to be behind in the 1v1?
Also, during that invade, a nice ward was placed by Inspired that Griffin doesn't expect there, so they've spotted him a couple times on that ward right now, just giving Dokla more knowledge of what he can do in the top lane.
Well, at least you can grab your honey fruit to sustain a little bit after that exchange, make it a little bit less painful there, but Malphite is level 6 here for Inspired, and this is one of the items that I have loved, the little buff that they gave with the new season. Because it added extra ability haste to it, extra ultimate ability haste to the Zeke's convergence.
Oh, okay.
So it's like perfect for Malphite because you get in there and then you get a little bit of extra AoE damage, slow him down, gives you just general tankiness as well for the game, regardless of damage types of your opponents. And it's very cheap. So you spike super early. So you get your level 6 on Malphite, get your Zeke's convergence, and you blast somebody.
A Malphite build that looked really fun, but I don't know if it's good, is just all the ultimate CDR items. So you go this into Malignance, into Hexplate. And then you're just lowering your R cooldown as low as possible. Have you tried that?
I can pass judgment on that right now. I'll say it's not good, but I won't disagree that it looks cool and it's probably fun.
Yeah.
I would say full AP. I like full AP the most.
Full AP is fun.
It's also probably not the best.
Ooh, as Cryogen has to pop his ultimate right there. Masu taking a big chunk as well. Isles looks for the Q damage. Not going to find it, as FlyQuest now might just get chased down here. Berserker doesn't have the ultimate, but a flash from Isles just for damage onto Cryogen. Will get the flash out from the Alistar.
Yeah, nice flash trade there, getting the flash off of Alistar, although one has Hex Flash. Looks like Isles does not have Hex Flash in this game, so Cryogen might look to roam after this. Still, good laning performance so far by Lion.
And I gotta say that the early game's still going Lion's way, but this time around, FlyQuest are equalizing a little bit more. Actually, they're TPing topside here. It's the Unsealed Spellbook from Cryogen, so the Alistar popping up to help out Griffin deny all of the grubs from Lion, so it'll be a 1-for-2 trade, as Gakkos is also just keeping priority, pushing in on this top side.
Yeah, and as of now, FlyQuest is not rushing the game like they did in Game 1. So in terms of, you know, something did go wrong in the early game, our Olaf got first blooded, but let's not forget our fundamentals. We can trade it for Drake, They then control the grubs. So this is already a huge improvement over game 1 for FlyQuest.
And I would say that instance right there was the first time between game 1 and 2 now that we've seen Griffin really identify where Inspired is and make a counterplay himself. Like, he's jumping up there with his Alistair behind him to push Inspired off of an objective, as opposed to Inspired, who all of game 1, and even at the beginning there, identifying Griffin was pathing bot side and then ganks top. It feels like Inspired has had God vision himself to just know where Griffin is at all times. So small win there for FlyQuest.
And I like, Cryogen investing the early teleport off his Summoner Spellbook. But it does mean now Isles has Summoner Spellbook teleport advantage, so you can make a play elsewhere sometimes and then use it to go back to bottom. He couldn't find any plays, though, so he's just going to use it for another reset.
Okay.
Isles right back to lane.
Hops down there and equal buy with Cryogen as well. As Masu's in a 1v2 right now, and that's where Ezreal, again, very comfortable for a champion like Ezreal to be in these type of situations, which allows Cryogen to get around the map.
All right, Griffin has completed Sunder Sky. He wants to do like a lane gank, it looks like, on bottom side. He's coming down. Tribush does have a control ward. He really wants to use his Vi ultimate, but there's nothing really presenting itself, so maybe they do leash the dragon. He got a little sweep over the ward, though, so at least they know it's there.
They know it's on vision, and Saint just got mid-wave in, so they got to be very careful here. FlyQuest have a mid laner and Malphite coming in from the mid lane as well. And actually, it could be Quad that's in trouble. Control ward will spot it down, and they just pulled the trigger over on Isles instead. Keeper's Verdict is canceled by the headbutt to stop them all from getting knocked away themselves, but now they didn't get the kill, they didn't get the pick, and they have to reset as Dragon will not be claimed.
Imagine a bit of a misplay there by Cryogen. Probably wanted to, his Q was on cooldown. I think it was probably hoping to W him in the other direction, but wasn't quite in the right spot. Because going on the no flash Poppy seems like a really good turn.
Well, when the Keeper's Verdict is being channeled, it's either cancel it or let it hit all of us, I guess. So maybe you just take the latter. Who knows in those tight moments what the intention was, but either way, it just delays the Dragon. Neither team will go for that second one again, as instead Griffin paths towards the top side. So Kobe, he didn't find that immediate, power spike he was looking for. Speaking of power spikes, Mastercard power spike here for Quad in the mid lane. Flash from Cryogen onto Berserker as Chain of Corruption will go wide. Cryogen sidestepping that one, but in comes Isles. Gets the hit into the wall. Actually, Cryogen's able to walk away from that one. Exhausted down, the ultimate trying to keep him alive, but his AD carry's already given up on him. Cryogen will be the sacrifice. Berserker picks up a kill.
And they get the dragon. Oh, man. FlyQuest. It feels like they just can't even really hold on to anything. Maybe topside again. Griffin wants to go over the wall.
Okay, they're not going to wait for the dive. Instead, it's all out from Dokla saying, all right, Griffin's my escape tool here. Griffin's trying to lock him down. Flash from Dokla will get him to safety. In comes Quad with the charm. Lands onto the top laner. Dokla with the third jump was on the get-go. Saints trying to turn the play in a 1v3 now. Can he get anything? That's a teleport up from Berserker. The Varus has now shown up for the play, and in comes Inspired. Big ultimate knockups as Saint will get another kill. Lion yet again win a team fight.
Even when FlyQuest get one kill, chat.
Yeah?
They lose 3 more trying to get out of there. The teleport from Berserker Varus.
They're going so deep, though. Look at how long that chase went for Cassante. It gave a massive amount of time for Lion to mount a counterattack. Credit to Dokla for delaying that so long. First off, I don't think that's a gankable Cassante. If you're Griffin behind the turret with no ultimate, if you think about the way this play started.
If you start it by going over a wall, you can go right back the other way with Cassante.
Yes, you can.
So Dokla is able to get himself to an exit path and then flashes the Q here to buy some time. So that requires Quad investing the flash on Ahri, which now allows the counter because Malphite is quite close. So Saint feels confident getting the triple person ultimate with the Aurora, and Berserker's teleport means there's nowhere to exit.
Yeah, Inspired landing a very nice 2-man ultimate. Saint doesn't die at the end of it. Dokla's, you appreciate it when you get 3-man as a top laner and then your team backs you up.
Exactly. And again, this is showing multiple times throughout both games where LYON are doing something on one side and FlyQuest feel pressured to do something on the other. This is now another instance in the top side here for Griffin. And it's now a 2.2k gold lead for LYON, rather, and a lot of that being on this bottom side. Berserker with that TP up top side. LYON have their support in some trouble. Their quad was in the lane, and he had multiple members around him. That is a pick for FlyQuest. Much needed gold into the mid laner's pocket.
Really nice pick there by FlyQuest, trying to keep the action up a little bit, but that time, as you notice, they didn't need to really overextend for that play, so they used their tempo nicely and get the quick kill onto Isles.
Gotta say, LYON, they look pretty good, regardless of that like face check and one kill going over to FlyQuest.
Well, maybe it's another here as Cryogen gets onto Saint. Oh, the rocket belt to safety. Dodges the charm. There you go, Jet. There's your rocket build.
It didn't go on Azir.
No.
More traditional there on Aurora.
All right. Well, and they also have the Malignants was rushed onto quad as you called out earlier, Kangas. So should be able to get that one back pretty quickly as well, and look for some more possible pick plays. I mean, FlyQuest have to keep looking for some of these picks. Meanwhile, top side, I feel like that Rift Herald's been pulled out. We can look at the minimap right now. Inspired is almost done with it. So Rift Herald here over to LYON, going to result in some more turret plate money for them, kind of guaranteed as well.
Yeah. I do think if you look at the big picture, though, for FlyQuest, they need to make sure they don't overforce, because as ThinkCard said, this draft was around, they're going to pick Varus, and we're going to pick a bunch of stuff that can kill Varus. Sure. So even though Dokla Inspired are big tanks with lots of armor, if they can center plays around their bottom lane, they're still in a game state where they can win the game, rather than trying to force a bunch of plays up towards Cassante and Malphite.
And Varus already has an early bounty, because Berserker has had a lot of success this game already, you know, especially with that teleport up to the top side. So a couple early kills onto the Varus. If you are able to take him down, that would be huge. Get a little bounty there as well. Problem is, he does have his flash available, and he's got the extra boots of swiftness to dodge away and keep his distance.
I like Cryogen here, ghosting into lane. Again, the Summoner Spellbook, you can try and find little cheeky plays like that, but Dokla wisely backs off, so should be fine.
I especially like Boots of Swiftness because it helps so much as an AD carry trying to kite an Olaf. You know, the axe spam, so much less threatening. You can dodge really easily side to side. Your Ghost Blade active helps with that a lot too. So it basically means that Vi has to ult you, or Cryogen has to have a really good, you know, flank or something. But here we go towards the Crab. Crab once again taken by LYON. Inspired secure the Crab, and that's going to be it.
And really difficult for FlyQuest to retake this space, because the Aurora has perma-push in the bottom lane. Their jungle is warded up. They're trying to clear it, but with both bot and mid lane pushed in, and Berserker probably resetting now to complete another item, Edge of Night making it even more difficult for him to dive.
Ooh.
There's some really good timers for LYON here to play around bot river.
Yeah, now you can't even find like a charm to start things off under Berserker. You got to get through that shield first. Dragon has now spawned, so let's see if LYON want to start that one up as Griffin's on the top half of the map right now. That was a proxy farm from Dokla, and in comes Griffin, uses the ultimate. Dokla has the all-out, trying to get out of there, uses the step instead, as Gakkos with the slow to follow him up. Everyone's onto Dokla, LYON are onto the Dragon, flash over the wall, Gakkos flash follows, and the wait from Griffin to get Dokla after the all-out. Well played to get the kill up there, traded for the objective.
That one works well. They were not going to retake river safely. We'd gone over where the power was in that instance, so that's the attempted counterplay. And this time, rather than trying to gank for a Malphite, or for a Scion like in game one, he's ganking for an Olaf. It didn't look like they were quite on the same page. Gakkos actually stutter step backwards at the start of that gank, but they got it done in the end.
Yeah, and they're able to push out the lane afterwards too. So the Olaf has been able to recover quite nicely, has the only little gold lead on the team, and once your Stride Breaker is done, you know, at least he has the extra, you know, speed differential to try and use, chasing people down, and we'll see how they progress there, if they can continue to make some picks, continue to get some extra gold.
This was the kind of weakness of FlyQuest after what happened in the early game, is that Gakkos was so far behind. Dokla picks up that kill from Inspired's level 5 Malphite gank, but now Gakkos with this hopefully can get back into this game, because Olaf is a big part of the comp, and they're just going to repeat the play again. No ultimate on the Cassante. This time an exhaust goes out with the support to lock down the Cassante. The ultimate from Olaf will just keep up as long as he's autoing. Dokla has no escape, and Gatghost gets his second kill.
Eat him up. Here we go. The snowball begins for FlyQuest. Gatghost also should be able to get this turret. Back away, Crouchin. Don't you dare steal any money.
I mean, this last sequence is huge.
Yeah.
It was a slight gold deficit for Gatghost into now a decent-sized gold lead.
I will at least say the first turret bonus had already been taken by LYON on the bottom side. So you
And
don't
the plates had already mostly been farmed. I was waiting for it to jump up. It was like, get about 120 gold.
Yeah, you don't get as big of a gold injection, but it's still good to get, obviously, for him as well. And Sundered Sky, completed. So 2 items on the Olaf now. Something to work with.
But the question I have is it too little too late? Because Olaf I see as something you want to get that snowball going. Baron's already on the map, so we're kind of at a point of the game where Cassante might be looking to group up with the team anyway.
I mean, former FlyQuest top laner Bwipo would talk about how Olaf has really good scaling.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
It was different item set, but he was like, actually about 3 items is where he becomes really powerful. You just need to go even in the early game. So we'll see what happens in this game just because Berserker does seem so accelerated. And a lot of times Olaf wars are about like, can the 80 carry kill you before you reach him?
Yeah.
And then maul him as an Olaf. But I think Gatghost is in a pretty good game state now.
Yeah, and this LYON squad is a lot about like burst damage with a lethality Varus and with an Aurora here. So if you can make them run out of burst, if the burst is not enough to get the job done, and they can still find some good success. Or, they can always try and poke with Ezreal first. Masu here has been quite good with poke champions, so maybe he's able to dodge Varus poke and stay at a fairly healthy range away from the Malphite while still being able to get something done himself.
And Malphite, the targets he's looking at, it's a CCMU and Olaf, and it's 2 carries that have mobility, the Ahri ultimate, the Ezreal jump. So it's not even going to be like easy for Inspired to be like, okay, well, Gatghost is going somewhere else, I'll just jump on them as the Herald. Okay, well, we slammed into the wall. Well, we got the cinematic view of it. I like that.
I appreciate the view.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, he didn't want the Herald to die right there, so you delay it a little bit, set it back, and so then it's gonna deliver you a little bit of pressure. So now it's the next wave of minions that was pressured, and so Olaf is gonna have to answer there. It gives a small window for a roam towards mid.
There is a purpose for it.
Yeah.
Other than Joyride.
Yeah.
And Dragon's coming up in a minute 15, so if you can control the vision around the river, that is, advantage in and of itself. There's 2 control wards for FlyQuest. They have multiple members here as LYON are jockeying for their own vision control. Saint walking up, taking some of that poke from Masu right there. 2 Qs have landed.
He's getting it done. Wormon is transformed.
Ooh, Charm onto Inspired as Isles is looking at it also. FlyQuest trying to spread out from the Malphite ultimate, but it's just a play for the vision. LYON get the 2nd control ward, and now we'll get that crab.
Yeah, Inspired would have been very difficult to kill, even if they land that Charm with having the Protoplasm harness on top of what is now, 150 base MR. If he has his armor shield up, it's 250 armor while he has that. So really, really hard to get a pick on Inspired. Inspired is playing that very slow game. As Kobe mentioned, not as exciting as the Nocturne, where you're able to have like solo kill threat on side lanes. It's very much a slow and steady, wait for your team and land a good ult.
I do like that he's going for the like cheap item build, where he's using a lot of these kind of pseudo support items with the Zeeks and the Protoplasm that have very low price tags. So he can get to 3 items pretty quickly on, and we're going to get the 3-item power spike now with the Abyssal finish. So you've got that extra magic, damage that is going to help out Saint's burst damage. So there's huge burst damage. We get Malphite ulted. You're also going to be in range for the Abyssal Shred for Saint, and it could be dangerous. Here we go.
Yeah, the Dragon started already, and in comes Inspired. Could look for the engage at any time. Teleport in from Quad. Keeper's Verdict being channeled by Isles over the wall, but not going to throw it. So no knockback for Griffin. Instead, it's LYON looking at the carry. It's on Quad. The Dokla turns his attention. Inspired still has the ult. He's holding it for a long time. Cryogen just trying to push back members from LYON as the Dragon is not getting bursted down. Inspired has found his way into the pit, and health bars are low and fly.
LYON are poking them out pretty effectively here. They're actually winning the poke wars hard. Dokla zoning the Ahri.
Now the engage in onto the carry. It's Masu as the target. Saint gets him. Masu's out of there. Now can FlyQuest deal with the rest? It's on to Quad. He's pushed away from from the rest of the team in the pit. FlyQuest are winning it as it's Gakkos on the Olaf. Gets the first kill. Can he find more? No! Dokla holds the line. Same with the damage. Berserker untouched, and LYON crush the fight at Dragon with a double kill to Saint to end it.
LYON just playing very well in team fights in both game 1 and 2. The beginning of this fight, getting that last execute onto Masu from Saint, and then also Inspired buying as much time as possible.
I want to ult when they stack. Wait. After the VIQ, I will try to.
Ready,
Okay.
I'm looking now.
Fine ult.
I killed.
Ezreal dead.
Fine ult.
I can flash.
Okay, they looking mid.
Vi just flashed in. Olaf. Vi no flash.
I kill her.
Go man,
Nice.
go man.
Yeah.
I love how even after flashing over the wall, Inspired still shot calling the fight, saying who to target. He's in total control this game, landing that ultimate onto Ezreal, which turned the fight.
He's got a good view up there. And he had very good shot calling. From the very beginning, he was like, right after the VIQ, that's when we're going in.
Yep.
You know, he ults in onto Masu, and then, you know, Saint is able to flash follow and kill that key carry.
Exactly, and Berserker was, again, untouched. We saw Gakkos, he's meant to be the threat for the lethality of Eris. He didn't even get the Banshee shield off of him. So, yeah, Berserker was able to just free fire in that fight as, ooh, the charm not land on the Isles. Good sidestep there.
Yeah, uses his W for a little extra speed there. Nice little juke, so no pick. And even though it is Malignant's Ahri, you know, in a little bit of an investment there, because you see the bottom lane, Aurora's pushed it all the way up to the tower, so they kind of sacrificed a little bit of minion pressure here on the bottom side, as Saint was able to fully push that one in level 16 himself.
Yeah, this is turning into a slow and steady LYON victory. I really just... The big power difference there by Inspired going with the cheaper items. He was a full item up on the Vi, but only like 400 gold up on the Vi. So I think that ended up making a big difference, because if he's, you know, a little 2-item carry there, Gakkos would probably get the kill on him, or at least burn the flash earlier. It just made such a big difference in that fight.
That's why his timings are so good. I was talking about right before he just finished the Abyssal.
Yep.
Right before FlyQuest start this fight, and then him and Saint with just enough magic damage to kill off Masu. Definitely impactful there as far as like assassinating that carry.
Guys, I'm starting to think Inspired's pretty good at League of Legends. I don't know, man.
And Saint is about to get a death cap. Let's take a look at this bottom tower though, because the tower is dead, so not much Dokla can do about it. There's an Olaf in your face.
Saint is coming from the bottom, you know, tier 2, so if Dokla keeps Gakkos here, Gakkos could be in some trouble, but nope, Gakkos will back away. Saint not going to make it there in time. But the turret was the objective for FlyQuest. They do get more gold onto this Olaf. Still 3-3-1. Still the last pick, fifth pick, counter pick for FlyQuest. And they put a lot of effort into giving him resources.
Yeah, and I do want to say that Saint is having a way better series than what we've seen in the past. So he was the target of the most criticism for LYON, because he kept getting caught in crucial situations in all of their losses. He had a couple bad Talia games, but in game 1, it was 13-1 on the Azir, and here he's got the biggest bounty on the team, incredibly fed on this Aurora. So I think almost like the biggest difference between FlyQuest first 3 weeks and FlyQuest now is Saint is playing like a top-tier mid laner rather than what we saw beforehand, which was definitely not that, because he hasn't been picked off, doing his job in team fights with strong laning.
And Saint was the one member that's returning to LYON from last year. This was the one player coming back. So when he was having a rough start to the year, it was like, ooh, is the roster going to work? You know, there were a lot of question marks raised of this, you know, would-be super team. We asked, you know, the chat during the lounge segment today, the kicking off the show, is LYON a super team? And it was like 90% saying, no, they're not a super team. And I think a lot of that is because of the sentiment of how Saint has been performing in the mid lane for the team so far.
Yeah, it just feels like LYON are much more coordinated as a team than previously as well. So good and better individual performances also lead to better coordination.
Yeah.
You know, that comms listen-in was what you kind of expect from teams with Inspired on them, where it's like marching orders from the very beginning. This is going to happen, then this is going to happen, this. And it seemed like everybody is on the same page and really executing.
Yeah. I mean, speaking on being on the same page, Drake's up in 10 seconds, and look at those wards around Bot River. They're going to try and take control of this and get yet another fight here. There is some nice deep push that Quad's getting in the top lane that Dokka's going to have to catch, but you know that LYON is all hands on deck for this next Drake.
I mean, I think that FlyQuest are just giving it. I mean, look at where Griffin is. He's on the top half of the map. They're not going to TP quad in, so it seems like FlyQuest are trying to slow the game down a little bit, not contesting this next dragon. It is only the third one, as Griffin looked for the Vault Breaker onto Isles, but he steps back. I mean, maybe they look for a pick out of Dokla. Really tough to kill this Cassandra. He will walk in and give them a window, though, as he's charmed up. CC chain stunned as well. He just cannot move. But Isles is behind him, and they have to invest so much to kill this Cassandra, and he's still alive. The all-out out of Griffin pulls him back to the team. Now the rest of LYON are here. Isles will be the sacrifice instead, as Inspired only lands one with the ultimate. He might just get chunked out, but Saint's over the wall. Saint found the flank on the Aurora, as Gakkos this time can finally free fire, will kill the top laner. FlyQuest trying to get members out. It's a 2-for-1 trade so far for FlyQuest. How bad does LYON want to keep this going? The lethality Varus lands 1 Q on a Cryogen. I guess that's a win for FlyQuest, trading up 2-for-1.
It's a win in the fight, it's a loss in the map because it's now soul point for LYON. But you understand, they're not just going to flip the game by trying to fight third Drake from a 5,000 gold deficit, so they're going elsewhere. It's unfortunate that elsewhere is a Cassante, so it takes a really long time to kill him. At the very end, though, they are able to get a lot of nice damage onto Isles thanks to Quad's charm. And then Inspired doesn't actually land an incredible ultimate, just lands it on the 1. So it's not the perfect combo with Saint ulting in at the end.
Yeah, flash out, and then Dokla on the re-engage here off of, trying to go coordinate. Wait a second.
That's an empowered recall. Okay, he's out of there.
Yeah, they were trying to go for the re-engage there, and so it turns into a 2-for-1. But yeah, Dragon Soul point is quite big because Mountain Soul shields would be a very big difference maker here, with both teams being fairly bursty. And looking for like these thresholds for lethal. Of course, the Olaf though has been the big topic, and Death Stance being completed provides you a lot of sustain. So Gakkos, this Olaf is in a very healthy position. FlyQuest need to just play around that Olaf.
Oh, we're actually going to send it here onto Saint, but he just dashes away with the ultimate between worlds. Teleport coming in now as he rocket belts forward. Dokla has completed the TP, flashes in, exhausted up. Gakkos is holding the line, so Berserker can't get in there, so Dokla's in a 1v4, but now Saint's walking up, trying to back up his top laner. Inspired now shows up. It's so hard to kill the Cassante as he will walk back to safety of the team. Nobody dies on either side.
Really weird fight there with the initial engage not working for FlyQuest. And then I'd say Dokla like flashing in for that engage when Inspired is off screen is never going to have the follow-up. He knew that he wasn't going to die, but he also wasn't really able to get much done. We're seeing a lot of durability actually on both sides of these team comps and not that much damage.
Yeah, Griffin tries to go for the Vi ult, but because it's an Aurora, they can pop the ultimate, and because nobody else is like really that close, they don't have a lot of immediate threat.
Yeah.
And then clearly something from the side of LYON was calling for the re-engage, but all right, a flash down here and there, and nobody actually giving over the extra gold. We're still very, very much in a fairly open game state.
But I want to go back to what Thinkard had said at the beginning of the game in the interview was we need the Vi ult and the Olaf to be in range to follow up. That was, again, Griffin going way deep in the jungle, and Gakkos didn't hit anything. Yeah, he held the line so Berserker couldn't walk forward, but we haven't really seen that yet where Gakkos is able to follow up on the big engage from Griffin.
Well, luckily for them, they do have the Guardian Angel timer well before this Dragon Soul fight.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit rough as far as Baron and Dragon Soul being on this map at the same time. LYON can try and pull the trick where they go to the other side here and then force you to react to their objective. But with Guardian Angel on Vi, you can afford to go very aggressive. Vi, Alistar, and Olaf, trying to push in and dive for that kill on the carry.
I feel like FlyQuest has to go in for this soul point. I think if it's Mountain Soul on the side of LYON, with FlyQuest needing to reach thresholds of durability to get kills, Soul will end the game. So
yeah, you're never killing Dokla.
I've actually appreciated FlyQuest's restraint, not flipping the game earlier than this, trying to get small incremental wins on Gakkos so that he can become a big Olaf by the end of the game. But the game's going to be decided here if they can control this space. And it's really hard for them to move in there. Still quite far behind on the game.
Little Hex Drinker here from Gakkos as well. on the back of it. So going to have the extra magic damage shield to deal with a lot of the Aurora and Malphite upfront damage here. Is that going to be enough? FlyQuest, their Olaf is strong. They can fight around him if they can set it up.
But they just don't have control of the space, so it's likely they get engaged on first and then have to try and counter.
There's Inspired. Anytime you're walking into the Malphite, it can be scary. Griffin just flash engages here onto the backline, looks for Saint, gets knocked away with the Keeper's Verdict as Berserker's trying to hold back Quad, but in the pit goes the top laner. Watch for Gakkos. The Olaf's trying to free fire onto Dokal, but that's the only member he's hitting, and now he's about to go down! Inspired picks up the kill. The Olaf has fallen. All the gold for FlyQuest, and now it's reliant on Quad and Masu to find some carry here. Big poke from Masu, knocked back on the Quad, but no follow-up for the kill, but Saint got Masu dominating as he kills the Ezreal. FlyQuest have to back away and give the Dragon Lion win the fight.
Great flash combo from Saint. Saint is playing so much better, especially this game. Really good back-to-back stuff because Griffin tried to do a really snap play on Vi, again, without the Olaf next to him. And because Griffin goes right over the wall, uses flash, uses ult immediately onto the Aurora, they use so much of their CC, and the Olaf is pretty far back. Then when Olaf comes in, he's immune to CC, but not damage. So Inspired just ults him for damage anyways, and they kill him off. Now they're on the Baron.
And all he can hit is Dokla, who's got the Bramble Vest from the beginning. So, you know, tough position for FlyQuest. The Baron is the next objective. There's no chance FlyQuest can get in there. Isles is holding the line against Griffin. So instead they'll just go for the kill onto Isles, take out the Poppy, and now the Baron's low. Oh, there was actually a small window there. Maybe magic could have happened, but no, it is Baron secured for Lion.
Isles gives his life to make sure they get the Baron. Could have been a steal opportunity. I just really like everything about the way Lion played out the extended fight here. So Saint, he doesn't get followed up upon, but then the patience here to just like not give Olaf good targets. And the amount of magic damage that Saint actually manages to get onto the Olaf is really good. Procs the passive once there, continues autoing as Inspired ults in for damage. Berserker never presenting himself as the target. He's basically been almost full health in every single fight this game. So Lion is playing really good discipline League of Legends.
And then Saint jumped over the Dragon Pit wall, and they lost track of where the Aurora was, thinking it was a front to back. Oh, really well played by Saint. 6-0-4 on the Aurora.
And now it's desperation time. So Griffin's hoping that some squishy dude walks down here and doesn't have friends.
Only one, please.
Please, one at a time.
Okay. Oh, was he just spotted right there? No, it doesn't look like it. This is crazy.
It's a double bush stack. So they have 3 in the top bush. All right, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, Saint sees it. Oh, big chunk on Masu. One weirding.
But you kind of have to do some stuff like that, right?
Try something.
They still don't see Griffin. Okay, now they should see him coming up here. So instead, they just full send it on Masu. 80 carries down, teleports in from the rest of FlyQuest, and now Griffin, the long con, not paying off so far, but he does get onto Berserker. Flashback from the Varus. Now Gakkos can free fire onto him. Can he finally kill the carry? He's still alive for now. CC immune, but again, not damage immune. Inspired will get that one as Lion are crushing everybody on FlyQuest. A double kill to Inspired as he flashes the wall for the follow-up. They'll crush the team fight.
Long death timers and a Baron buff. 28 seconds on Masu. Quad still alive with no 80 carry. Might be a little tight, but Lion is pretty close to taking this game.
It seems like this is the push. They have the Baron empowered wave. It's only an Ahri left alive with no ultimate. Has flash and the Zhonya's. So maybe Quad finds some miracle right now, but everyone's still full health bars. Uses the stasis on Inspired's second ultimate in the fight. Flashes back to safety. No chance of survival. FlyQuest taken down again. Lion, the team that we were promised, is showing its fangs today. 2-0 in the series.
One more game from the sweep to eliminate FlyQuest from LCS lock-in, Kobe.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 of Lion versus FlyQuest. A 2-0 lead for Lion right now, which means everybody here at the Riot Games Arena cheering for FlyQuest. I'm going to need you to make a lot of noise in this next game, okay? Because they will need your help. Kobe, do they have a chance? Is there a shot? Can we do this?
50-50 chance.
50-50, I like
Either
that.
they win or they don't.
Only 50-50.
Honestly, though, I think there is a high chance we get a Taliyah in this game.
Yep.
So maybe they can put that Taliyah tip to use in this very game. as mid lane has been chopped down a little bit with the Fearless pick, and Taliyah seems to be one of the main promising picks still up. You can hopefully combine it with a Pantheon. Pantheon's probably going to be banned though, so we'll see.
I mean, the difference in how close Game 1 was to how close Game 2 was vast. If they can continue that difference,
trending in the right direction.
Game 3 could maybe be a win for FlyQuest, but it's not looking that good, to be completely honest. They had a burst comp against an incredibly powerful front line, and LYON has played these games clean from start to finish. Saint, for me, is the player who's had the biggest improvement from what we saw early in 2026 to what we've seen in this series. So LYON definitely in the driver's seat.
I'll also say Dokla has been playing his laning phase much better and having higher impact later on in the game. It's mentioned it during that game too, but the team is coming together for LYON. The question on my mind was, when are we going to see LYON's Claws? I think this series we are seeing LYON's Claws, and why so many people had them ranked so highly on the preseason power rankings.
Okay, so Rumble and Bessa both still up. Taliyah still up as we were going over. Pantheon still up. To me, these 4 champions all sounded pretty good, and there's only 3 more bans left. As we whittle it down, Yunara already off the table, so some of the bot lane priority. Well, there goes the Mbessa, so Rumble looking pretty good.
A little bit more of a Griffin ban, I feel like, getting Mbessa out of his hands. We've seen people ban it. We saw Blabber pick it away from him last week. They've done a very good job attacking Griffin in draft and in game.
I'm pretty sure Dokla, by the way, just acknowledged the signs that were in the audience there. One says pick Jace, one says don't pick Jace. Yeah, and I just, so we showed that. We showed Dokla looking at the audience. Oh, okay. I think there's a conversation happening here. He's nodding. All right. Maybe fans, reminder.
Who was he nodding to? The don't pick or the pick?
Oh, wait, that's a good point, actually. We don't know which one he was going for.
All right, well, Trundle ban here opens up tanks, so, you know, your blind pick tank looking a lot better, too. I have to say, Pantheon. Okay, there we go. All right, well, Taliyah still stands very, very powerful, very strong. But yeah, Pantheon's definitely not getting through, so. Okay.
Rumble's up.
Yeah, Rumble's also up. So there's kind of 2 big picks right now that FlyQuest need to be looking at. Do they lock in the blind top for Gakkos, or do they go for neither?
I mean, generally speaking, if they don't pick Rumble, Dokla will. That's Dokla's tier list. It's Rumble, Scion, Cassante, and then the rest. So with what has happened early on in the series, Rumble is what's left, and he's going to hover the Jace at the very least.
Yeah, there we go. Is he going to do it? Everybody, make some noise if you want the Jace. Okay, that's a lot of noise. It's a decent amount of noise. Oh!
What if you don't want the Jace? Make some noise if you don't want the Jace. I was about to say him.
Yeah, about. But Dokla doesn't know which question we asked him. All he heard was the noise when the Jace was hovered.
You can tell he was like, I need some more time to think about this.
Yeah,
you got to pick.
Yeah.
Somebody else pick.
It's not going to be blind pick Jace at the very least, as Corki is locked in for a Berserker in the bot lane.
Wait, chat, do you want Jace or no? Let's check chat too.
Yeah. We got to get everybody at home weighing in on this
and chat,
as well.
Do you want Jace?
I wouldn't mind it. Dokla used to be the Jace guy.
I was going to say, do you want it as jungle or a lane, though?
No, I mean, so here's the thing. I want it so we get a game 3. I think if Dokla plays it, it's not going to work very well.
Oh, FlyQuest, please. I love the little dark circles. It is her birthday. Reminder. There's no way we get a 3-0 on her birthday. I don't believe it. I don't believe it's possible.
I still believe. Me too. All right, let's see it. What are we cooking here? Both the champions that I mentioned have not been picked, though.
The Rumble's also just falling through.
Neither the Rumble or the Taliyah have been picked, and so they're going Cassio instead.
He's blind picked Cassiopeia just against Wukong Corki.
That's crazy. I mean, Quad, this is one of his comfort picks, so maybe the game plan here is like, we're down 0-2, let's pick comfort.
Yeah, it's extreme comfort for him. So Cassiopeia specialist here. And with a Xin, very fearsome mid-jungle. There we go. Now we're getting him.
All right, now does Jace counter Rumble? That's the big question now. Can we lock it in here?
We're not seeing the Jace.
No.
Sorry to say. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if they do lock in this Nami to pair with the Corki to make sure they have a strong bottom lane. So the bans are going to be a little bit different in the 4-5 here, since LYON has picked AD carry support, and then FlyQuest has picked their entire top side. I'm not a big fan.
Our Galio
I love
cosplayer just did the little chicken call. I like it.
That was fantastic. Okay, wait, we got a top laner and a mid laner here. Hey, nice. Are you duo? What's your win rate? Thumbs up, thumbs down? 55, I'm hearing. Okay, you know, that's a pretty good win rate if you're doing solo queue. All right, well, a couple bans now. Next up on the docket here as we're into that second phase. The Nami Corki for the bot lane means that FlyQuest can counterpick and LYON can ban out some chimps they don't want to see down there. Nautilus first on the agenda.
Yeah, take away the point-and-click CC. I mean, Rumble comps, you gotta get a lot of good stuff to hold people on your Rumble Ultimate. They're running double AP solo laners, so whatever Dokla goes for, you know he's going to be investing heavily into magic resistance. I expect Dokla either going to be some sort of split push champ or should just be a main tank. I mean, you've got a Wukong and a Nami already on your team, provides a lot of structure, but if you have a B-tier main tank, then it all kind of fits together nicely. So. And it also allows you to invest very heavily into some of that magic resistance to deal with both solo laners.
Well, they banned the Ornn. That would have been the tank boy that he would most likely play.
Galio's a good answer into Rumble, though, and still up.
One member in the audience is pretty excited about that.
Galio Wukong, good combo. Good into double AP specifically. That's why I'm not a big fan of the Casio with the Rumble, because it just allows you such easy MR itemization.
Yeah.
They could technically pull this Galio as a flex pick, but if they lock it, it should go top.
Yep, there it is. Galio locked in. The Birdio in the audience almost jumped out of his seat right there.
Yeah.
Yeah!
We got it.
Now, can you get Saint to use that skin? We need to use the chicken. We got to use the chicken skin
Can one
now.
of the refs on stage tap the shoulder,
Somebody
point at the
tell
chicken?
Saint we got some important information.
Yep, we need this to happen. As it's Lucian Sona locked in. Are you guys Sona believers? Her win rate in solo queue has been very high.
I will say, yeah, the diadem, the new tier item, does help a lot for Sona stocks.
I played one game of Sona, got destroyed by a Thresh. I stopped playing Sona, but the win rate has still been high across the board.
What?
And
despite the Kangas data?
Despite my trying my absolute hardest to lower that win rate. But with Lucian, that's an interesting one for me. I typically think of Lucian with things like the Nami. This time he's playing into the Nami with that Sona, but can provide some of that sustain that will help you survive this laning phase against Corki Nami.
I mean, I'm here for it. FlyQuest has had one unique pick in all of their drafts, trying to make things a little bit unpredictable. This is one of those picks, though, that you have to have patience with. You need to wait for Sona to get gold. But as far as this season,
I'm hearing
the
Birdio chants. The audience is chanting Birdio right now. I don't know if the mics are picking it up. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. I don't know if Dokla heard that. Again, I'll take the heat. If a ref wants to tap him on the shoulder and tell him to, and we're not allowed to do that, blame me. But I just want to make sure we get the right skin here.
Big Dokes is the closest to the audience. So
that's a good point.
He's the most likely to be able to hear and respond.
Yeah,
and he was reading the signs.
You have to get pretty loud to get through the white noise in those headphones, though, as they're designed so that you can't hear the audience very well.
He's got a chicken suit, gang.
He's got a chicken suit, yeah. Just one little peek over. All right, here we go, though.
Oh, it's deep.
Not Birdio. Not Birdio.
Bad news for the audience, as it is default Galio. Bad news for FlyQuest fans, as they are down 0-2 in this series with their backs against the wall.
The crowd is turning against Big Dokes now.
Yeah. I think we got more FlyQuest fans as the series is going on here, just because of that skin choice. But a loss means FlyQuest is done for split one, and LYON will advance in the lower bracket. FlyQuest have to reverse sweep this series in order to keep their tournament lives alive.
And let's take a moment now to reset the expectations for FlyQuest, because I feel like this tournament, this lock-in tournament, things kind of got out of hand with the early success that they tasted. Okay. When this team was formed, this is the youngest roster. When they're formed, the expectations, everyone says, okay, it's fine. Very low, you know, they're going to start slow. It's going to take time. I like that they're investing in young talent, and they're building for the future, as Crygen is in pain in the present.
Yep.
But he is Sona, chugging his potion early on. Anyways, they found so much early success in their early series that then the expectations started to grow to reflect those results. And so that's why, especially these last couple of series versus Cloud9 and now LYON, two very strong teams, people are reacting very heavily to these.
Well, bot lane's tough for Cryogen, but I want to hear from Raz, who's standing by with Rainover.
That's right. I've got Rainover with me, head coach of LYON. First question, of course, has been, let's just talk about the Sona. Is there any surprise with the draft so far, just taking a look at it?
I mean, we were expecting them to play something like Lucian Sona because they want to have some early strength, especially picking Sinja early game and Cassie early game. So we were expecting something strong, but definitely didn't expect the Lucian Sona exactly. But yeah, we did expect, and then they just want to play a little bit more strong early game, yeah.
And you guys look incredibly clean. I mean, you guys had that one break period, of course, just like being able to scrim and work through all the problems in the first 3 weeks. My question to you is, like, what specifically are you seeing on stage that you're proud about being able to see this team perform on stage with?
I mean, I think the biggest difference is just we're just more on the same page right now as a team, because I would say the match we lost, like a lot of things that we thought it was obvious within each other wasn't really obvious when the situation changed. But recently we've been matching our thought process better, so I think the games are looking more clean and make sense.
All right, appreciate the answers. Thank you a lot. You can head up back, and I'll send it straight back to the casters. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, always love hearing from coaches as well, and I think that he's echoing a lot of what we've been talking about. The team is coming together and playing together much better than they were in those earlier weeks from the side of LYON.
Yeah, coordination definitely has been on display thus far. Interesting, we're actually going to have both junglers recalling Sans Crab. So both of them going back for the early buys. And now, which one are you going to go for, Mr. Inspired? Because
actually very strange.
He's resetting through mid lane, so you always do want to use your home guards to maximum effect. So you go down the lane before going into jungle. And looks like they're both heading towards the bottom half. I mean, Inspired does have his Raptors starting sooner, but we're going to all fight for it.
Yeah, and Inspired also has Isles in his back pocket. Griffin's going to walk into the Raptors. Isles is still in the other brush. Griffin in a numbers disadvantage. Is it going to happen again? Can't even trade the kill. First blood to Inspired.
How?
Fool me once, chat.
Quad's going to go down too. That's a double kill.
7 times?
Double
like
kill to Inspired.
Every game, but this is the craziest one to me because neither jungler does Crab, and he just runs into Raptors, obviously over a ward, so they know that he is invading.
Inspired has Griffin downloaded.
Yeah,
man.
that's like a book.
He has been completely downloaded. So I want to actually go back and look at. I want to go back and look at. Did FlyQuest did Inspired know that FlyQuest had vision of his first Raptor take and know that Griffin had his second Raptor respawn timer?
We're checking. I'm
checking.
Yeah, check, because that is something you can use.
Like, what is he doing?
Yeah, you can tell one of those junglers confused, the other a little disappointed. Did not work out how Griffin wanted it to.
I mean, it's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so I knew it. I knew that had to be the case.
But here's the additional thing that really messed with Griffin is at level 1, not only does Griffin ward the Raptors, but he walks past a ward that sees him warding Raptors. So he didn't know that he was seen warding the Raptors.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. If Inspired knows that you are getting there and it has this extra leverage of information, and they know that you didn't see, then it's very predictable.
But it makes sense. He did the Raptor clear the first 2 games. Griffin says, I'm going to pull a fast one, steal his second Raptor camp while he's doing a Crab, but completely downloaded.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you have to expect that ward. So if you're going to do this, you've got to go in sweeper active, because you have
to do it with 2 people.
You've been so telegraphed, exactly.
The second invade. The second invade, they had a ward as well.
Yeah, the second invade.
Oh, we got a 1v1 top, by the way. Okay, no, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, no, it's.
I mean, it feels like the series is why we're spending so much time on this, because it's this series. It's the last series against Cloud9. It's even the best of 3 a little bit against Cloud9.
And it's I don't know. It's one of a lot of people's favorite parts about jungling are these, like, you know, the information wars, I guess. You know, wars over information result in deaths like this.
And also the fact that this was the story coming in. It's Inspired versus his old team, Inspired versus a very young jungler who just got blasted by Blabber for the last 2 series that he played against. So, like, Griffin is still, I think, showing a lot of these signs of, you know, still needing to learn a lot about how to play jungle against the top in LCSs. He started up the Dragon. The Weaver's Wall comes in from Saint. They're trying to push him off. Isles coming up as well. Cryogen and Masu are trying to link up with their jungler right now, and looks like it was a leash for Inspired for now, but LYON aren't even going to go for it. Instead, Masu's getting damage onto Berserker, but no mana means he's going to have to back off.
That Dragon's going to reset. Actually, everyone's going to be recalling. Junglers aren't level 6 yet, so a little bit of calm there, not letting Griffin solo the Drake. It's going to mean Inspired gets a top crab for sure because everyone on FlyQuest had to reset.
Douglas throwing up the white flag, walking back into lane already. I feel like, yeah, he's feeling it right now. Schmovin' and groovin' as Cryogen half health here, just trying to keep that wave frozen for his AD carry who had to back. And yeah, I mean, the 2 kills, it's all that Inspired's picked up so far, but he's still almost 1,000 gold lead at 7 minutes and still just very efficient pathing afterwards regardless.
I mean, it feels like such a crazy story that has just gotten out of control.
You should talk about what we just went back and saw again, though, because there's an update.
Again, so the ward that is put by LYON is placed by Saint. So Saint is up there.
We're talking about the level 1 ward.
Yes, the level 1 ward where you're like, all right, this Griffin guy, he's always coming to, for Raptors, right? So it makes a lot of sense to have one of your teammates defensively ward the opening for your Raptors. So Saint places it, and as he places it, Griffin walks up. So there is a red ping on it. So FlyQuest
actually knew.
So FlyQuest know that Saint used his ward to watch Griffin go in and ward the Raptors. So you should know for sure. Inspired is not going to let you get away with that for free.
It makes it even crazier that he then went back for the reinvade without even sweeping.
Yeah. I know. It's just,
but just add that to the first game when he walked over a ward with his sweeper, hit the ward, knows it's a known invade. So it's weird because this is a guy, Griffin, he does have so much talent.
Yes.
Right?
Mechanically, in big team fight moments, yes.
But honestly, even when he was playing last year in Brazil, like, good pathing, smart about the game, he's just very tunnel visioned right now on these early game moves that are costing him hugely.
And then you need to coordinate with your bottom lane, too. When stuff like this is happening, you have to say, can enemy support also be here?
Yeah.
Right? And enemy support can also be there and is there. And, it was close. Yeah, Isles had to flash over the red wall, but anyways, get back to the game.
Yeah,
at present
they linked up that time. The bot lane did roam up to help out take that first dragon, so it is still a relatively even game. It's not like LYON have continued to push the advantage, but 2 kills early on a Wukong is still fantastic.
Yeah, and on the bright side, Masu Crowdgen doing well on the Sona Lucian. Interesting how Rainover said they're going to try something strong like Sona Lucian. I think that's more because they have range. Because typically, I also think that Sona has incredible scaling. So, pretty big fan of the lane so far.
Ooh, they throw out the ultimate, answered by Isles. Big damage onto the Nami. They don't have the wave behind it. Griffin is coming around from the flank. Look at Isles, flashes in, and will pick up the kill secure.
Nice. They play very heavily to bottom side, force this one through. Currently, Inspired is taking the Krugs from Griffin on the top side of the map, and Griffin isn't actually staying down here to do the same. So he will lose out on one camp, but gets down there, gets a kill on the board for FlyQuest.
Much needed action right there. And yeah, I echo your sentiment there, Jat, that when I think of Sona, I think of a scaling support that will just get to 2-3 items. Once you get enough levels, you just buff your team so much that you'll never die. But you can also try and trade health bars with opponents and really put them in positions like that.
Yeah, and when you pair it with the Lucian is where the real magic happens here. So
your Q empowers his autos.
Masu on the Lucian. Getting a lot of the poke damage down there for a lot of these trades and opening up the opportunity for Griffin to get a kill.
Yeah.
Despite that kill, of course, Wukong's already got a Trinity Force because he had 2 kills early and he's got the camp lead on top of those kills. So.
Inspired's going to be trying to snowball this game, and he's going to be very strong. Like a strong Wukong against Lucian Sona, incredibly scary when you can dive in with Talia Galio. That's a future problem. So they're going to try and get as much of an advantage as possible while Inspired's hitting those level power spikes, because getting the first Drake and then also Griffin playing around bot side instead of playing around top side, huge improvement. Like, I really feel like they need to try and play around Masu potentially carrying the game.
Yeah, that future problem you're talking about, the Wukong with the Trinity Force that's fed, also is going to have a Galio ult attached to him when he goes for the ult. So that problem is going to be a big one.
Problem.
It's a future one, but it might be a large.
Not a now problem.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but the funny thing is, it could be a now problem, because when I think of the Trinity Force, I'm like, that's a problem now, guys. Wherever he decides to go could actually just kind of snowball the game as teleport comes in from Dokla topside. Gakkos will use his ultimate to push out the wave and go for his own reset now, so Just pushing in these waves from both sides. Griffin's looking for a cheeky little lane gank.
I like this too. He used the sweeper. He knows for sure no wards in the side lane brush. Question is, like, do Berserker and Isles actually give an opening here because they just been getting pushed in the whole time? Are we going to just rush this dive? Bubbles down? Nah.
They still have the tidal wave. There's no flash on Isles, so if Encore lands, that's the signal to go.
Is it just waiting for the expect a Wukong gank down there? Because Wukong is counter jungling again.
Yep.
So,
double Krugen.
Maybe their call was, hey, it's very likely Inspired tries to use his ultimate and Trinity Force Spike on us on bottom side.
Griffin will make it in time to contest. Inspired has a level up on him and the Trinity Force completed, so just jumps over the wall and is out of there.
He got there just in time to get all the gold from the baby Krugs, though, so not bad.
Oh, Masu could be in some trouble, though. Phosphorus Bomb plus the rockets. Berserker's going in! It's Isles with the kill, but Masu taken down.
That's a big mistake right there while his Sona was in base, because he actually had the Essence Reaver, which is, I think, why he was feeling so strong since Berserker was stacking the tier, didn't have Trinity Force. But Berserker had an extra player.
Yeah, ooh, as Kraken looks for the Encore right there. Saint will flash and Ghost, so 2 summoner spells used defensively.
Yeah, good and necessary flash from Saint to live here. Inspired goes on the invade.
I mean, we see that the Sona is still behind him, so this is really bold from Inspired. Can he get the solo kill onto Griffin, though? The damage is crazy! Inspired will have the backup of Saint for the 1-for-1, but now FlyQuest with the 2v1. Isles coming in, empowers Saint to walk forward. Throws out the Unraveled Earth, the Seismic Shove sidestep, with the threat of volley should be enough. Cryogen just auto to death by Saint. LYON win the scrap at the Raptors.
Yeah, nice little force here from Inspired going in. Dokla, by the way, flashed and dead as well.
Oh.
So I don't think we caught. I think we'll have to investigate what happened there, because flash down and dying, and you see this rumble on the tower, so let's take a look here.
Gakkos hits level 11 as Dokla's trying to shove in the wave to get 11 as well.
Yeah, nice step back from Gakkos on that Justice Punch. Kind of spaced him nicely, and you see the immediate turn too, looking, he's like, you're not going to get out of here.
And now he's just in no man's land, and Gakkos is cycling his cooldowns very well. Going to time his overheat with his ultimate right there. Really perfectly done to get the kill on the
placement,
Yeah, big top diff there, big dub for Gakkos. We'll see if it turns into anything, because remember this skirmish right here, Cryogen is going to go down and be the extra kill for Saint. Started by the Force Timer from Inspired going in using his Wukong ultimate, and back to Dragon for Griffin though. This would be number 2 for FlyQuest. The objectives have been flowing in.
He has no Crescent Guard available, so if he gets piled on top of, he could be in some trouble, but LYON are not in a position to do so. Griffin has the squad behind him.
And it's Gakkos actually who was no teleport, but was in fog. So LYON respects the potential 5v4 and just gives up the Drake. He does have to give up a plate and a little bit of his lead to Dokla, but I think that's worth it to get the first 2 Drakes of the game with a Sona comp.
Sona also stacking up that tier, has the first item completed, and yes, it can give you some of that range and health trades in the early game. It still does scale very well, so LYON have multiple members topside. Gakkos could be in some trouble here. Dokla taking up a lot of turret shots to set up his team for the damage. Berserker will get the kill. Actually, it's Inspired with the credit, and nobody falls on LYON's side.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to kind of trade tower sides here, but you get the extra kill for LYON because they invest heavily in it. They get there first, they trap Gakkos, they take down the one person on FlyQuest who had a gold lead.
As Griffin gets Seismic shoved back. Saint not going to follow up with the stun on the Unraveled Earth, but proves his point, gets some big chunk onto Griffin. As, let's see what happens with these turrets. It looks like Masu's going to get the first turret. Yeah, there we go.
It's an extra big bonus here.
Nice bonus for FlyQuest completely in this game. So unlike the first game that really felt like it got out of control after the, scheduled fight between junglers around crabs, they've recovered pretty nicely in order to control the 2 Drakes and have Masu and Gakkos in good positions.
The Raptor Graveyard.
I guess it's turned into the Raptor
Yeah, we're going to have
Graveyard.
to do a new stat now. There's no longer just the grub deaths, it's the enemy Raptor deaths.
It's the pre-4 minute jungle deaths.
Yes.
Concerning.
That was some great observing right there. There was no tombstone, by the way. No grave to market. Not yet. Okay.
We're working on it.
We'll get the map team on that.
All right, well, let's take a look here at the big possibilities. Inspired has level 11 and Flash ready. So rank 2 on his ulti, and we're starting the fight. Griffin takes the Hex Gate in.
Has the Crescent Guard, trying to keep himself healthy, but Inspired's over the wall. Petrifying Gaze lands this time. Big chunk onto Inspired. In comes the Galio ultimate. Quad was able to kite back with Griffin in tow. In comes the Nami. Ultimate will only knock up onto Griffin. Double taunt from Dokla, but the team has already left him. Dokla falls. FlyQuest get a kill.
Quad played that really well, getting the initial stun onto Inspired, and then just knowing exactly the range of that Galio ultimate, patiently waiting to do the re-engage. It looked like Inspired would be happy with that fight. Anytime he can get the 1v1 against the Xin, he's 1,000 gold ahead of, but Quad completely dominated there on Cassio.
Oh my good, Masu just got giga chunked. Yeah, that was a nice look there to pick up 1 kill. Finally, something goes the way of FlyQuest here. Still don't have the gold lead, though. It's 1,000 in the pocket of LYON. And Kobe, that's all Inspired still. He almost was able to take down Griffin in that moment, but just wasn't quite enough damage.
Yeah, I mean, he flashed to start that play. And so Griffin had a really good response flash. He flashes out of the Galio ult coming down. And then your Cassio and your Rumble damage there. Gakkos also on display, and FlyQuest able to keep the gold lead within reach while having the stacking dragon.
TP'd on by Dokla, though, in a 1v2, as his enemy is also getting the objective. So Herald and a potential pick here. Quad has Petrifying Gaze. Might have to hold it if you can get some big damage on this. It walks back into the seismic shove that was in the brush. LYON pick up another kill, this time to Saint.
Just a nice TP there by Dokla, having the timer. Quad would have had to just stay under turret in that situation, but they lost track of him a little bit, and it's a very easy kill for LYON.
Yeah, nice little flick back. I imagine he walked back into it because it was in the brush, because otherwise maybe there's a chance, maybe there's a chance that Quad's able to, yeah, you don't like how I say brush?
Midwestern accent there.
Yeah. I got long U's and O's. As Inspired goes in, big chunk out of Masu.
I mean, I still feel like this Rumble is going to be a problem. Gakkos continues to rake in money. He just got another tower on top side. Tower isolated there for Gakkos. So maybe this is Gakkos time. He's level 14 on Rumble. We've all been there in a new season when a top laner gets out of control, you know, and the enemy top laner ends up level 20 while you're level 11.
Can magic resistance counter Rumble? I think is the question here, because Galio's going to keep building it. We already got the upgraded Merc Treads for Saint.
Oh.
And they have healing. I feel like no, actually. Maybe you get fed enough on Rumble.
You know, we've got double AP on the side of FlyQuest. When we start to get some magic shred going for our side too.
Oh yeah, Bloodletter's Curse from Cassio. I could see that. Or from Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, when you even factor in Sona damage, like later the game goes, you will be adding some AP to the rest of the team. So more magic resist, the better for LYON.
I mean, a potential soul point fight right here. They're at a pretty powerful moment with Gakkos having level 14, 2 items on Masu and Berserker.
We're seeing it from LYON's vision right now. They have a flanking ward if they want to TP in for it, but everybody's already here. It's going to be a 5v5 potential at the Dragon. Weaver's Wall to cut off Gakkos and Cryogen. 3 members of Fly now in the Dragon Pit. We're going to ride in the Herald for the engage. Get on top of Quad. Inspired can get the kill. It's Berserker with the credit. Griffin, Crescent Guard to try and stay alive. Has it back up the team. Masu's free firing onto the jungler, but it's not enough damage. He gets taunted up by Dokla. Inspired still alive. Just cannot die. As finally he will go down, but LYON still running away with the team fight. Dragon secured for FlyQuest, but they will get aced here. Bubble sidestep by Cryogen, but you can't dodge all the damage. Saint will pick it up. An ace for LYON.
More objectives for FlyQuest and gold for LYON. Berserker also going to be able to farm up the plate, going to be able to take your Raptors on the way out to increase the gold gains. You got FlyQuest are just going to have to bank on rolling high on like a Dragon Steel for a Dragon Soul or something.
A lot more gold. Look at Gakkos in this fight though. He's the one that wasn't able to get involved even though he was the most fed member. Originally gets cut off by the Taliyah ult, and then he's like, I need to get into the fight. Let me take the portal.
Yeah.
And then flashes in afterwards. If you can't have a fight where Gakkos is able to hold this space up here and stop them from flying in, then the people that are in the Drake Pit are going to get absolutely annihilated. So just a well-played fight there by LYON, just fighting around the Fed Rumble.
Yeah, they need like a flash Sona ult to hold people for Rumble Ultimate or something. For some timings. I mean, Quad was really low already inside the pit.
Yeah.
And so Inspired just able to drive the Rift Herald into the pit. Yeah, he doesn't get the smite timing there, but then pops out, able to take down the Cassio, and the rest of LYON here, increasing the gold lead. Still, though, FlyQuest are thinking, maybe we can leverage this Dragon Soul to save the series.
I almost feel like
Dragon's kind of good.
I almost feel like they need to give up a couple of them. Because I think if they fight the next one, it's toast.
I mean, it looks like they're going in onto Dokla right now. All that magic resist picked up as Quad finds Inspired as he hex-gated in. But the clone's able to get him back to his safety. Griffin, this time, hey, he got a camp. He just stole the Krugs.
He did?
Yeah. Hey, it counts. You gotta count those ones. As FlyQuest are still 4,000 gold behind. So they're looking for plays, and that's something that I can say about FlyQuest confidently is that they got that fight in them, they got that dog in them. They will not stop looking for angles and looking for ways into this game. Sometimes it's to their detriment, but hey, at least you would rather have a team that will keep fighting than a team that will just do nothing.
If FlyQuest are gonna have like decent conditions to fight that Dragon Soul, they really can't get picked in the next 2 minutes. This Talia is fed. This Talia is fearsome. I mean, Saint has 8 stacks on his Dark Steel in addition to the big gold lead that he has. So you cannot let anyone get picked off by this Talia preemptively here before Dragon. You honestly don't even want anyone having to flash in the next 2 minutes before this.
I mean, Kobe, you're saying this Talia is fed. This Talia is fearsome. This Wukong is fed. This Wukong is fearsome. This Corki is fed. They're all sitting on three full items on the Wukong and the Corki. It's Talia that isn't completely on Void Staff yet. He may be, before this fight, currently sitting on 1,100 gold. So they are sitting on some big power spikes right now.
I'll say the 8 stacks of Darksteel count as Griffin can't even get his own red buff. It's taken by Inspired right there. Now Griffin chunked out as he has to walk away. Inspired has just done this game after game after game. You get the early lead, you take away all the camps from your opponent, and now the team's on Baron.
Yep, like this Baron Force with their item power spikes, knowing they chunked out Griffin, knowing there's no advantage. This could be the fight they need before Drake.
Turn in onto Masu, flash away, but they got onto Quad. The Cassiopeia is taken out before the fight even begins, as Masu's in some trouble as well. Both the carries are down. LYON with 2 quick picks as they use the Baron as a magnet to pull FlyQuest in. Gonna turn back under the Purple Worm.
Yeah, great instant turn there. You can tell the call already. I mean, if we get the comms listening, you know they're looking at it from the very beginning. They take down Masu. They take down the rest of them too. Nothing for FlyQuest to say about it. Baron for LYON. And 40 seconds away from Dragon Soul, just to put the cherry on top.
It's perfectly done. This LYON team is playing immaculate macro. Dokla waiting in the bush beforehand. They have the vision control. Once they walk past the ward, they just go. Inspired's leading the way along with Dokla. The Talia ult also catches Cryogen, just totally destroying them. And the crazy thing here, Kobe, we saw 3 weeks of LYON where Inspired was just playing with the team for the first time, and they were just trying to get people on the same page. And we know that Inspired loves playing slow controlled games where his carries aren't making mistakes. Both his mid and AD are deathless this game, and they're fighting on all the right timers.
Back to the Dragon Soul fight right now, as FlyQuest have one last opportunity to get back into this game. That's a flash from Quad, away from the Unraveled Earth. Watch for Inspired on the flank. He's spotted by Gakkos. He's trying to get in. Has the Galio coming in on top. They knock up the Rumble. Griffin's locked down as well. Everybody turning in onto Masu as he got separated from the rest of the team. The Encore to buy some space. The Equalizer goes down. FlyQuest might just be turning this one around. Masu will go down. Big damage from Berserker as the Rockets are shredding them. Saint with the flick back. Griffin goes down. Saint is godlike. Gakkos will try and trade it back at Inspired. Will get the shutdown, but a consolation prize. Double kill to Berserker and a double kill to Saint. LYON ace the team fight.
And that's gonna be the Dragon Soul as well for your reward. LYON looking to wrap up this series. Here's another look at the start of the fight.
Yeah, deny the soul here because FlyQuest had been stacking them, but right here, it feels that, like, the way the series has been going, Kobe, it feels like LYON should have the Dragon Soul. And watching this, they're running them down. A slight window, it felt like, that FlyQuest could maybe turn it around, but Inspired doesn't present himself as a target. Once they get Masu down, it's only magic damage left, so Saint is able to kind of face check in there, get the flick, and Berserker gets the cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, the carries are just so fed on LYON here, able to finish it off nicely. Walk on through and, yes, deny the Dragon Soul that had been building up, and now it just feels so far out of reach.
Yeah.
It was kind of like you were hopeful before, maybe there's some little miracle we can like steal something, and it's just been extinguished.
And we are on the precipice of another 3-0 this Super Week. LYON versus FlyQuest. If you had asked me coming into the weekend, which series do you think could go the distance? This was my obvious choice. Yeah, I think that this is going to be 5 games between these two teams.
Yeah.
LYON have shown up in a huge way to shatter those expectations.
They really have, because based on what we'd seen in lock-in before this series, was a very inconsistent team for LYON. There were games where Berserker would be really fed, but there were also games where Dokla was losing lane massively, where Saint was getting picked constantly, and they didn't feel like they were playing the same game. And then on FlyQuest side, even though they have flashes of brilliance, did seem inconsistent and had just been slammed by Cloud9. So we weren't sure was it going to be first 2-week FlyQuest or the FlyQuest that played against Cloud9. And FlyQuest is kind of the FlyQuest we've seen in the last 2 weeks, but mainly LYON is playing so clean. They really have, to me, found the same page that they weren't on in the first 3 weeks, and they're looking, I mean, yes, it's just one series, but they're looking like a contender to win lock-in based off what we're seeing.
Well, with LYON looking better, with Team Liquid looking better, lock-in's looking spicy.
Yeah. We still have one more series tomorrow to happen with C9 versus Sentinels to see if Sentinels can keep their name in the conversation. We're talking about the future because this game looks wrapped. I mean, it's a 10K gold lead essentially here at 27 minutes in. It's going to be 2.5 minutes until that Baron comes up, so a little breather right now for FlyQuest. But it feels like mostly time for them to think about how this game got so far out of control.
Do you know in this series, Saint right now has 28 kills and 1 death?
Yeah, I was going to say, last game I'm pretty sure he was deathless,
being
right?
game 1 where he flew under the turret.
That was the only kill that FlyQuest got game 1. They're looking for another one right now, but the Weaver's Wall blocking off the escape path. Masu throwing out the Colin, trying to get some range damage, but a teleport flank from Dokla gets onto the carry. In goes Inspired as well. The clean up from LYON. A clean
GG.
0 for 5 ace. They don't even need the Baron. They just needed that one last team fight to close this one out. A wave is waiting for them to push in the mid wave.
They have absolutely dominated. They have changed the narrative about LYON in lock-in. They have destroyed FlyQuest.
LYON on the same page, and they just demolished them 3-0.
We are seeing the Fangs. LYON take the series 3-0.
Okay, I mean, it seems like business as usual, much different than they were looking after their struggles and loss to DSG. Spam chat for who your player of the game is. Inspired did work, but I think there's arguments for Saint and Berserker here as well. Wow.
This did not go how I expected it to go. A 3-0 in that dominant of a fashion from the squad that had struggled up until this specific weekend.
They just played better as a team and as individuals. So they improved across multiple metrics here in a very quick time, which makes me super excited for the rest of this lock-in tournament as we see LYON will move on.
And Jat, you had mentioned it before, it's getting spicy